Okay.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hey everyone, this is Curb Knight, and welcome back to the Heal Range podcast, where we go over set reviews, or more specifically, Market Watch Danny talks for a bunch of the time, and I kind of just say, yeah, that sounds right. And speaking
Oh
of him,
boy.
of course,
Do
I
I have a
am.
lot to talk about this set though? I
You
am
should. You
excited for this.
better. What you got? You want me to actually do my job as a YouTuber and make content for myself and actually give my thoughts on cards that I'm probably never going to use? Fat
You
chance.
you do. You had your thoughts. We appreciate, different perspectives here.
All
No,
right.
but like really though, like this set is a very exciting release. Adds a ton of new cards to the meta, and contrast to the previous set, I described that as a DLC set.
Mm-hmm.
This one more so like a full game release. So let's just get into it.
That's actually kind of funny because I completely forget that this set exists like half the time. Like literally, this set release just jumped up on me, and I did not even realize the set was coming out. Mostly because I don't really care too much about this set. I don't think there's anything really interesting for any of the decks I play. But let's continue with Danny's segue. Starting off with the new overdress cards, we got some new support for Nirvana, technically, but as I'm sure
Yeah.
Market Watch Danny will elaborate, a lot of this support is getting used in another deck.
Yeah, so first off, Nirvana, so the crossover dress variant, they get three new cards. So the first card is a grade 0 Trickstar and Swendy. So on rear deck and drop, it's also regarded as Trickstar. So, you can't play this card and then like four other Trickstars. So,
Mm-hmm.
like in deck building restrictions, you can only play a total of four.
Ah, the Harpy
Rear
Lady
guard,
rule, huh?
unfortunately, yes. Actually, it doesn't even matter, unfortunate. This one's so much better.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because on rear, when you would choose original dress for crossover dress, you can choose this one card as a single trick star and a prayer dragon for a total of two cards.
So
And then
basically
also on
fixing
top of
the
that,
the cross dress mechanic, which the big issue
exactly.
was you're literally minusing two from board and one from hand to just get like one unit, and now you only have to like minus one like regular overdress.
Exactly. But not only that, it has a third skill that when your unit is attacked, you can move this card from original dress to Guardian Circle. And then if you do, it gets 5,000 shield until end of turn. So randomly, it's also a 10k shield. And
Mm-hmm.
then in addition to that, when this cards or outer dress will be put into the deck or bind zone, you put all of that unit's original dress into drop.
Which
So
is
first off,
effectively the same effect as the set order that we got as a promo that was meant to fix that problem for the deck, but ended up just
yeah,
giving
but
a lot more
you know,
bricks.
yeah, we just pretty much shove multiple effects onto this one card, and this one card does fix a lot. So, I'll talk about that more on top once I talk about the second card.
Yeah, because
It's a
they go hand in
new,
hand pretty much.
yeah, exactly. A new grade 3 Judgment Blades equip Ars Virina. So its crossover dress skill is one Trick Star and one or more Prayer Dragons with different card names from each other. So, typical. And then it
Mm-hmm.
has additional skills. It has a total of one, two, three, four skills here. So the first one, when this card is discarded from hand during your turn, you put this card into soul. You search your deck for up to one talisman, discard it, and shuffle the deck. So pretty much, the easiest way that you could do this is, riding up, right? So discard it to ride up,
I
and
would have
then
said
you
like
search your
Nirvana
deck.
skill, but sure.
Yeah, that's like the main use case for this. Like you can use Nirvana Jiva skill to, call out cards, and then this card will then discard like another card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talisman that being, the Trick Star, as well as all the Varinas. Its second skill is on play on rear by crossover dress. Until end of turn, auto abilities of cards put as original dress by this effect don't activate. And then you put all cards from your drop as this unit's original dress. So pretty much this is to stop you from like cheesing, being like, oh, like I got like a shitload of like what was it, like prayer dragons in there, because they all have like some
Yeah,
sort of ability that like when they
then they
become an
become
overdress.
original dress. Yeah. I think like
Yeah.
specifically when we saw this in the anime, there was a bunch of people hyping up like I think it's like a double rare that like when it's put as the way it's worded is it literally just says when it is put as an original dress, you just like draw a card or something. So people are like, whoa, you just draw 4 cards every single turn, as we'll be reading in the later skills. But basically, just to prevent any stupid shenanigans that could be possible.
Yeah, and like the reason why it takes every card, that's also includes, your non like overdress specific cards. So like also include like your triggers and you maybe orders, your persona rides, etc. Just everything in there.
Hmm.
And then it has an additional skill where when this card would leave a rear guard, if it is put other than into drop, you put all original dress into drop. So again, like the order, same thing with like the Trickstar and Swansea, just to
Yeah.
make it so that way like your quote unquote bad matchups before are a lot easier.
Although
So, but
I
the
think that
reason why though,
I think
oh,
yeah, I think
go ahead.
that's mostly like a restriction. Like you could do a lot of silly things. Specifically if you could just bounce it to hand, because normally when you bounce something to hand, everything underneath it goes into or follows along with it. So they're basically just trying to stop or making sure that nobody loads up every this card with the original dress and then adds the entire stack to the hand because that would just be insane.
Yeah, imagine like putting four perfect guards or OT in there, and then you just bounce it all back, so you get additional like, what was it like? Not only just like perfect guards, but also like persona rides as well. But yeah, so
It's
that
literally
stops
just like
that
a plus of the
shenanigans. But
just a
like
plus billion at that point.
yeah, but like that's not like the main thing. So the
Yeah.
reason why it puts all the cards, including like triggers and such, is that when it in the overdress or crossover dress state attacks until end of that battle, it gets 1,000 power for each of this unit's original dress. And if it stands by your card's ability this turn, you may have it get +1 crit. If you do, at the end of that turn, retire this unit. So essentially, when you play this down, the goal basically is that you can use Trickstar and Swindy, go into this Ars Varina, though you can put in more Prayer Dragons if you want to proc their effects. Ars Varina will then take everything from your drop zone underneath, and it essentially gets +1k until for each one. Now it's until end of battle, so you don't get to double stack with this with Nirvana. So you can't
Hmm.
attack with it and then get like 1k for each and then another 1k for each. That's
Yeah.
not how that works.
Yeah.
Additionally, based on how it's read, only if it stands and it gets the crit, that's when you retire it. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So
Yeah.
like
That's how
if
it
you, for
reads
whatever
anyway.
reason, so like for whatever reason, right, you don't want to like use its like a skill, right? Whether that be like, oh, I randomly want to keep it on board, or like what was it? You use it as your first attack, most likely, right?
Hmm.
Where you just attack with it, because otherwise, if you have to retire after its first attack, it's kind of meh.
Yeah.
But essentially it's more power to the rear guard in the form of a new
Hmm.
Virina,
And
which
I mean
in my
thinking
opinion is pretty good.
yeah. What I was just gonna say is like there's definitely a lot of edge cases like you were saying where you just maybe don't give it this crit. Considering that the new Trickstar can like intercept from the original dress, so if you happen to like find all of them, you can literally just leave this on board as like a defensive card and just have a free like, if you can get all 4 underneath it, from its first skill, then you can literally just add 40k to your entire board to your guarding value for your next turn.
Yeah, there's a lot of like small like shenanigans you can pull off with this, even though like at face value it's a pretty straightforward card.
Hmm.
Now, what was it? Now, crossover dress as a deck is very rearguard centric, right? Its
Hmm.
Vanguard is pretty simple. It's like probably one of the shorter effect that we have on a Vanguard, Like on attack, CV1 restand a rearguard, and then you can discard a card main phase to call out, I believe, a grade 0 and a Prayer Dragon.
Hmm.
Pretty simple effect. So the fact that it now has like an additional beater is pretty strong in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mainly because the other beaters take a lot more effort to put in. Specifically Strawberryna, like to get the most out of its effect, right? That's including like the gimmicky remove marker nonsense.
Yeah.
You need to put five like original dress essentially.
Hmm.
So that's your entire board. Whereas this one just needs like the new Trickstar and Swindy, and then just everything in your drop just goes in.
Yeah.
So 1K is a kind of like a weird like number, right? Just
Yeah.
for like each one because you can get some weird like numbers on attack, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. I
And then
mean,
we have like a
as long
third
as you get
card
like, as
before.
long as you have 10 cards in drop, which is like super simple for literally any deck to do, like you're at least getting that 10k, which is like, sizable.
Yeah, and then we have like a third card. It's a grade one double rare. On play on rear, you energy blast three. Choose a card with Virina in its card name from drop, and you put into hand. So recycle, right? And
It's a
if
free
your
plus, yeah.
Virina somehow just get in there, for example, if this Ars Virina gets in there somehow, like just as retiring itself with its own skill, maybe you soul blasted it out after you
Hmm.
discarded it. Like this is a way to recover your units. And then, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Nirvana, you can retire it. You choose a Prayer Dragon from drop and call it to rear. So you get to reuse more of your Prayer Dragons either on player skills or if you want to use their on field, like when it becomes outer dress or
Yeah.
original dress, rather. Like that's also its application.
Hmm.
Now, these are really, really big buffs to the crossover dress. Nirvana really appreciates this. However, two of these cards are also appreciated in another Dragon Empire deck, and that being Bob Saga. For the main reason for that is solely for Ars Virina, because it says that you discard up to one talisman. This also includes the recently limited Trick Moon and the forever limited Veilord. Oh, by including more copies of this card, effectively you can discard this for ride and then just bin your whichever one you're missing. And this is a very, very welcome addition because this kind of sort of adds like a new build to Bob. So I recently took Bob to locals, and I
Hmm.
played it post nerf before the set. And I'm gonna be honest, it played super well. Like it played really well. It's like surprisingly well for the nerfs. And I think only in two of my games I even saw like Trick Moon, let alone the Trick Moon like Veilord. I don't think I even like pulled off Veilord. Like, but that's besides the point. This card essentially adds the consistency that you were missing. So now, if you just discard it, there are like other ways that you could discard this card too during your turn. Whether that be like there are some sealed blaze dragon that do it, such as Kangshati that does it. So that's additional utility there. And not only that, this card is also just randomly a good beater because
Hmm.
you can just play this Trickstar and Swindy, and because Bob has inherent synergy of when you arm it, you call a grade 1 or less to board, you can call this Trickstar and Swindy, and then this one card now fulfills the condition for this Ars Virina. So then now you just have like a big beater, which before though you used to rely on your trick moons in order to be big beaters because they're
Yeah.
25 boosters. At least with this now, you now have another option in order to not only act as your consistency tool, but also, if need be, as your beater. And
Yes.
that is like very, very good.
Yeah,
Now,
so
the only
it's basically
issue,
just like
though,
serving double duty, right? Like if you see it early, you discard it and then get your consistency, but if you like draw into it later, then well, it's just another attacker. So pretty much as good at all stages of the game.
yeah. The only issue, like randomly, I could see is that if you play Ars Virina, right, as like a crossover dress, and then you put all the cards into your drop, if you forget to like get rid of this card for some reason, or like your sequencing is wrong, you could be like, all right, I'm gonna play Ars Virina, put everything in drop as my original dress, and now I'm gonna go use Bob's skill to arm, and you're just like, oh wait, I don't have a drop zone anymore. That's like the only like kind of downside I could see, but like that's just like
I feel like that should be hard to
nitpicky.
do. Like I don't know. Like I feel like you're always looking at your drop, and if you happen to have a Ars Arena, you're gonna be like, wait, where's my drop? And then you're gonna remember, and you can just like overcall
I
it.
don't know, man. Sometimes, like, I thought riding was like intuitive, right? But we,
Yeah, yeah, we
but
learned that thanks courtesy of Mei Chengu. Writing is not intuitive apparently.
yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, these two cards not only serve like double duty for Nirvana, but also like Bob, which, I'm really excited because Bob's one of my favorite decks. Obviously, you don't really play like the grade one that we talked
Yeah,
about just recently because, it's Virina locked, but the crossover dress variant of Bob is sure going to be exciting to develop and play around with you know because these two cards, you don't need these to be the only crossover dress cards that you play. You could technically play like other cards. For example, a lot of people have been playing Bar Varina because it's a multiple way of soul blasting two to retire an opponent's rear guard, so you're able to, snipe back row or kill out the front row, so that way you can draw with Bob's like
mm,
front row retire skill. So there's a lot of like intricate plays with that, and I like that. Like I like that this not only helps one deck, but this inadvertently helped a second deck. Now, hopefully, as the result that we see in JP, this deck it performs fine. It's not like overbearing though. So
mm,
hopefully they decide that this is a synergy that they don't mind. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think it's always cool when you can just like find those when the unintentional synergy just like pops up and you see like one deck using another card's another deck's cards like to really good effect. It's always interesting to see. All right, so
Easy impressed from me. Like these Myrina cards are so good. Like, not only am I a Bob enjoyer, these two cards make me want to play like Nirvana, like
yeah,
actual crossover dress.
if only Strawberino weren't expensive. All right, we got. Ooh boy, I can't believe I was doing this. I was really surprised that completely forgot that Werebell got a triple rare this set.
This card is also good as well.
What
So
is it?
pretty much, it's a grade two triple rare, as you alluded to, and it's for Werbel. So on play from rear from hand, if you're playing Werbel, you counterblast one. Look at top five cards of your deck. You choose a card greater than, less than, or equal to Vanguard. Call it. And if your opponent's Vanguard's grade three, this unit gets 5k. And then auto rear guard at end of your turn. If you energy blasted six or more in total for the cost of the act of your grade 3 Vanguard with Werbel. So essentially, if you use Werbel's skill twice, you may retire this unit, and if you do, you either energy charge 3 or choose a card from drop and put it into Soul. This card is really, really good for the Werbel deck because this card builds board, and not only that, it technically allows you to recoup your costs because you were gonna energy blast six anyway,
Mm-hmm.
because you want to use your two skills so that way you can restand your Vanguard. So getting back an additional energy that could play as a use, the card from drop is deceptively good at like, because on first read you're like, oh, just like an additional card from like drop, additional soul, right,
Yeah.
that you get to play with. So you can use things like, Latifa, because you're gonna be playing like Drag Resonance or even Scarlet Flame or both. But you could also, put in like your Persona Ride if you so wish. So that's also really good. But the
Oh
main
yeah,
thing
and you need to
here,
soul blast because you do need to soul blast out like a persona right in order to get like drive on the second swing, right?
essentially, yeah. And then, but like the main thing though, like that's like the cherry on top. The main thing though is that this is also a card that you can play early game. Yeah, you can't call any grade threes, but you weren't really playing any grade
Yeah.
threes to begin with though. The only like downside though is that if you're playing this card, it doesn't proc off of Latifa because
Yes, we
Latifa
placed
is
from
the
hand
top.
the Stoichea
Yeah,
curse.
yeah, unfortunately, like they knew, but like regardless, this card is still a very strong card for Werbel, and like it's like Werbel, right? Like that's kind of like a roguish deck, or
Mm-hmm.
people don't even consider it rogue. This card does actually, I want to say, make it like very rogue playable, especially with like all the other cards that are around it, right? Not only
Mm-hmm.
like the some of the Werbel specific support cards, but also cards that we got like Scarlet Flame, as
Mm.
well as like just the power of like a Latifa. This is essentially like Latifa 2 with
Yeah.
a CB.
It's almost like you could say it's like a leaves feather dragon.
Yeah, it's essentially like Leaf Feather Dragon, which is also like Take Fault. So
yeah,
that this card has to be good.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah. this card gets an impress.
Yeah, I think it's just overall solid, and I don't know what else. Like honestly, Werbel has a lot more potential to go. Just the fact that it's such a generic Vanguard gets supported by pretty much every Dragon Empire generic support, and all the cards around it are also solid. So who knows? Maybe one day Werbo will be good. All right, we got some double rares. Starting off with, we did actually get a new double rare cycle card, which is another thing that I was surprised. I don't know what to call these the new double rares, but basically they all do the same thing. If your opponent is on grade 3, they all get 5k if you meet a certain condition. The Dragon Empire one, obviously, being if your opponent has one or less rear guards, kind of like a Shenri. It gets the 5k. But then they all have the second skill, which is when they're put on Guardian, if you have 5 or more damage, or your Vanguard was hit, you can Soul Blast 1 to give them 10k shield, to make them 15k shields.
Um, these are these sure are a double rare cycle, I will say. Like I can see like very niche like cases, right, where it's like, this is a generic card, you can just slot this in and it's like not too bad for the most part, right? Because we see
Mm-hmm.
this a lot with like certain cards, but this card doesn't really like adds to like any sort of like advantage. Yeah, you can call this out as a beater and it becomes like a pseudo like interceptor, like
Mm-hmm.
or like a better interceptor rather, because it does already have intercept. But the condition of 5 or more, like if you're in the late game and you're at 5 or more, right? That's kind of like 15 shield is nice, but like it's not like make or break where it's like if it was
Mm-hmm.
like 30k shield if you're 5 or more, then we'd be talking, or even 20k,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
But
like
like,
literally the lyrical Blitz order that has the same if your Vanguard was hit condition that gives you 30k shield. Just like this is half of
yeah.
that.
So like, I mean, it is a little bit nice, right? That like, oh, I can call this early. If I get hit, then like, I could potentially just intercept with it as like, so I can block like a second attack. And it kind of like did double duty. It like maybe took a card out of my opponent's hand, and then
Mm-hmm.
like it maybe saved me a damage. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's died.
Yeah, like I do appreciate that they're finally like giving the defensive cards like a little bit of offense. Like as bad as like the extra 5k is, at least it's a 15k attacker and not like a 10k vanilla with an only on intercept or when guarded from hand kind of skill. I appreciate that at least.
Yeah, I was also surprised by this next card that like apparently Varga got support.
Oh yeah,
So like
me
it's
too.
a grade 2 double rare. When it attacks, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga, it gets 5k until end of battle. Then you may soul charge 1 and then act from drop. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga, you can energy blast 3 and call it to rear. And if your Vanguard's in the Malworm state, it gets 5k. Now, I don't know where this really slots into the current Varga deck, if at all,
Especially
because
since
current Varga deck.
Varga has actually moved towards an order build. Those are the builds that have been seeing a lot more success lately. I personally lost the one, and I do remember seeing a couple of them topping some JP events.
Yeah, so like that's kind of been like a thing for a while now, ever since Scarlet Flame got released, because before the only order that you would realistically play could be like Drag Resonance, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like at least the like Scarlet Flame allows you to play it early, so that way you can use Latifa, your the turn. But then like this card, right? On it's essentially a 15k attacker or 20 if I guess if you call it from the drop, and then you have the optional Soul Charge. Soul Charge is like okay, I suppose,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because then like you do go through your soul a little bit, but I don't
Mostly for
think it's
that
like
one grade
necessarily
one
like
that calls itself back out. That's what I've noticed them running out of soul. Like I feel like soul is fine. I mean your ride line pops itself out, so you tend to have a little bit less soul than average. But usually I think they only use the soul for that one grade one that brings itself back, and then like Latifah's. Um,
yeah, Latifah's, but like you only need the Soul Blast if like you want to restand it. It just brings itself back regardless. So
yeah,
like it's if you want like that additional push,
I feel
and
like they
then the
always go
card,
for it.
yeah, and then the ability to call itself from drop is because Vargas thing is retiring the front row and as well the back row if you're on like Rashaxa,
Yeah.
but like so this is a way to bring itself back, but from what I've heard, I think energy might be like a conflict because like I think a lot of their cards like that you want to play do require energy, I believe. I
I'm
think
trying to
I
think.
forgot what.
The grade 3 requires energy. Shura requires energy, although a lot of lists have been starting to cut back on Shuras. Something else uses energy that I'm not remembering right now.
Yeah, but like the thing is, right? This card requires energy to bring itself back, but you kind of already had cards that did that anyway. Like
Hmm.
either not necessarily like bring itself back from drop, but like when they were retired, they bring themselves back to hand, right? So which is kind of even better because you get to reuse them as like shield potentially or discard fodder.
Hmm.
So like overall, like this card is still like good, I
It's
want to say,
solid.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's still a solid card. Like I can definitely see myself using this as like, hey guys, here's my budget Varga deck, right?
Yeah. Although,
But
like,
like,
I
and
would
I
say,
can see
like,
that.
this card doesn't scream as like more than one of. Like, it's a little tech option, honestly.
Yeah, I do like though that like it doesn't have that rant that restriction. It's like, oh, if you don't have a rear guard with the same name, you can't like you call like. I mean, at that point, right? If you're calling two of these from the drop, you're energy blasting six for these. I mean, you're already in a losing position there, buddy.
Yeah. All right, and then our last double rare is they remembered that Venatoil exists and they gave it a what is this? Its third support card. What's this?
Something like that. I don't know what it's. I always just refer this as the caveman deck. I keep
Yeah.
forgetting that it's technically an archetype name,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's grade one. It's on the back row rear guard. At the beginning of your battle phase, if you have a grade 3 or greater vanguard with Venatol, you choose another unit in the same column, and it gets 5k. And then, while on play by rear by your Vanguard's ability this turn, you reduce this cost by Energy Blast 3, and then when it's retired from rearguard by the ability of your Vanguard with Venatol, you EB3 draw a card. I don't know what to say about this. I mean, like, I guess it's like welcome, right? But like,
It
I
seems
don't know. Like, you don't really
solid
see. But
enough. Like, just on initial read, this is like a it's not like a great card, but it's good. Like, maybe I'd probably put it the same level as the Varga card, honestly. I mean, like, power is it it kind of sucks that it only gives a thing in front of it 5k. Like, there's literally no
yeah, at the
application
beginning
for
of
that.
battle too.
Yeah. Um but the second skill, drawing cards, is fun. I don't think the deck uses any energy whatsoever, like in archetype. Of course, that being said, like there's 3 support cards. But it could potentially be free if you want to call this off of your Vanguard skill. But
I feel like you'd much rather call like a better
yeah,
leader and
that's sort of
like
the thing. Like, is this what you really want to be calling? Um,
yeah, I
eh,
don't know, cause like first off, I don't really see that many caveman decks, and second off, like most of the time you kind of see it full with like generic cards, so you see it
mhm.
with like Shenri's, unlike you see it with like Latifah's again,
Have
right?
you seen
So, but like
Julio's build recently?
no, I just know that he plays like Virgilla, like Radline, I
No, that
think.
is not nowhere near the extent. He's been splashing
Oh,
in
he's
Grandpa.
oh yeah, like the Grandpa
Because there's
Splash.
like a
Okay, I
Grandpa
remember that.
card that is like literally CB1, check top 5, like call a Kuro Kuro. So he's just using it as like a second Latifa. Or budget Latifa, I guess, if you want.
That is funny. We gotta do something more with that. But yeah, like I don't know, like Caveman was already like a below mid deck, and
Hmm.
like you'll welcome this card, I guess, but like it doesn't like
It doesn't
move
do
the deck
anything. Like,
any.
it doesn't help. It doesn't escalate or it doesn't raise the ceiling of the deck, or
Yeah,
raise its floor. It's just a solid card for a bad deck, pretty much. All right, so how do you rate all the doubles?
I mean they were all kind of meh, but like they weren't like bad per se.
Yeah, it's like
Like
they're
even though like
inoffensive, I think, is probably the best word.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't think that's enough for like an impress. Like, it honestly should be somewhere in the middle, but I'm probably just gonna lean on the other side, because
yeah,
like
the press because
like
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 most of
you're
the
not gonna
time,
be
right? You're
playing
not playing
this.
that one.
Varga's probably not gonna play this, and if you're playing Volatile, you're already behind. But if you like the deck, then I'm sure you appreciate that. But still, overall, not great on these doubles. So Dragon Empire as a whole.
I would say it is an impress. It's very much carried by its triple rares
Mm-hmm.
because not only is the Warbell card like good, but also the overdress cards are good for both, overdress as well as what was it, Bov.
Bob, yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
would be impressed with that.
yeah. I think they're good enough to like drag up the and well, even though we did say like the Dolars are not that good, you know, they're still acceptable in their respective
They're
decks. They're
serviceable.
serviceable. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Oh boy, new deck.
Oh boy,
How much do
Crow
you know about
Wine.
Chrono Wind?
Very, like, a little bit. Like, I vaguely know it, mainly because I remember someone was like, we replaced, like, was it time stamping dragon
Yeah,
or so?
timestamping
Yeah.
technically gets a quote unquote ride line because it supports generic gear dragons, as opposed to named support.
Well, there we go. All right, let's take a look at this. So let's start with the ride line then.
Hmm.
So grade zero, it's whatever.
This shit, I
And
was
then
looking
grade
at when I was posting this, like this, does this not look like a random Zodiac Time Beast trigger unit?
it would be a Pulsar Tamer, if anything, because
No, the
Zodiac Time
starter.
Beast.
Would it be a bit of
Yeah.
pulsar? Oh, well, they're still are they
It,
ZBTs?
ZBTs are, yeah, they're still Zodiac Time Beasts, but like in terms of like the actual like Chrono like Chrono Beat Buffalo, Chrono Ethos Jackal, like it
Hmm.
doesn't fit in with that like aesthetic, but like the Pulsar Tamers, like it does. I mean, this is pretty much inspired by Gear Chronicle, or even like that one like I keep forgetting what it's called. I used to play it. It was like a Gear Colossus deck, but we'll touch on the aesthetic in a bit, I guess. But like grade one, when it's rode upon by the grade two, you soul blast one, you draw two, and you choose a normal unit from your hand, reveal it, and you put it on the bottom of the deck. And if you didn't reveal it, you choose two cards from your hand and discard it. So
Cool.
essentially,
Rancor
it's one of those
chain.
like yeah, it's one of those simple like, oh, like you get like a plus like one, right? You draw two, you put back one, right? And most of the time you're gonna have like a normal unit anyway.
Hmm.
I mean, revealing it, obviously you have to verify that it's like a normal unit, but
Yeah, it's
it
like
does
you're
kind
playing
of
Soul
suck to be like,
Rhyron.
yeah, it kind of suck to be like, oh yeah, I'm putting back this perfect guard, and then you're just like, but then you get to play the mind game of like, oh, that means they have a lot of perfect guards, or they were like hellbent, and like the rest of their hands are triggers. But that's besides the point. Grade two, we're applied by a grade three with Gear Dragon, so it could be either Crowline or time stamping. You look at the top five cards of your deck, and you choose a unit card from among them. You reveal it and call it to rear if it's grade 3 or less. Put it into a hand if it's not, and you shuffle your deck. And if you didn't reveal anything, you call this card to rear guard and you soul charge one. And then it has a rear guard skill that during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, and any player's rear guard was bound this turn, so whether they randomly bound using like a guard skill or like maybe like obviously your skills, then it gets plus 5k, so it's just like a 15k grade 2. um
This very much screams like early overdress kind of ride line, at least in the fact that it pops itself out and you soul charge and then it gets 5k.
I do like that, like very reminiscent to early design. Oh,
Hmm.
what a time, but yeah, so pretty much the grade 3 or less skill is pretty relevant because this deck does have a grade 4, which we will get into in a bit. But then let's just talk about the main grade 3 here, Crowline Dragon. So it has an act on Vanguard Circle once per turn. You bind a card from your soul and you choose one of your opponent's rear guards. You put it on the bottom of the deck. And if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, this unit gets 5k until end of turn. So pretty like funny removal, right? With
Yeah.
this very reminiscence of old Gear Chronicle. Not even like the Time Leap or Zodiac Time Beast shenanigans, but like old like
The
Gear Chronicle
legions.
first wave. Yeah, the legions where they were like all focused on bot decking opponents' rear guards. So it's nice that they made like homage to that. And then it has an act or auto skill on Vanguard. When it attacks the Vanguard, you counterblast one and you bind two rear guards. You search your deck for up to two unit cards with a total grade equal to the total grades of the cards bound for this cost. You call them to the same rear guard, or
In
you
the
call them to
column.
rear guards in the
Same
same
column,
column,
yeah.
and then you shuffle. So pretty much, if you bind two rear guards, right? So you have to bind two, and they have to be equal. So it's not equal or less. So
Yeah.
you bind a two and a one,
You have to
then
call three,
you
yeah.
have to search it. You can call either a 3 or you can call like a 2 or a 1, right? So
Mm-hmm.
because you get to call 2 unit cards. So effectively that's like whatever units you put, grades you put into this, you get it back essentially, or whatever, right? So like if you randomly do like a 0 and a 1, then you kind of have to get like a 0 and a 1. But most
Mm-hmm.
of the time you're getting 2 1 or two grade 2s, because we do have a grade 4 here. Now, this is a grade 4. It's Eternal Overlord Colossus. It's the other triple rare for Dark States here. Continuous, this card cannot be ridden. Why? Because it has base 18 powers, and we don't want to cheese
Yeah, we
somehow.
wouldn't want Shield Fisher shenanigans.
And Shieldfisher's alright. But anyway, it has a couple of effects here. So its auto skill is from the hand. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Crowline, you can Energy Blast 2, I believe.
It's 3. Yeah, it
Is
does
it
say
2?
3 there.
Oh, it's
It says
3.
3, yeah.
Yeah, Energy Blast 3 and bind this card, you draw 2 cards. So it essentially like cycles itself or turns itself into a +1,
It's a
essentially,
pot of
right?
greed,
Because you
basically.
get rid of this. Yeah, which is fine. It's like a neat skill.
It's
And
nice
then
to
it
like
has
have
an
a
addition.
skill like that on a grade 4, so you don't end up with a bunch of just like non-shield in your hand and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah. And then it has an additional skill that when it's placed on rearguard by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Crowline, until end of turn, it gets all the following according to the total grade of Dark States cards in your trigger zone. So, unfortunately, right, you can't play any of like the what was it, the collab or like the promo. Like you can't play like the bell ringer like PG for instance, right? Because that's
Ah.
not a Dark States. But like most of your triggers, they're like 0 grades anyway. But and this calls for the grades, but
Mm-hmm.
it's cards in the bind zone. So 10 or more, it gets auto once per turn. When it attacks, it gets plus 20k until end of turn. And at end of that turn, you bind this unit and draw a card. So it's a 38 attacker, which is pretty good. 5k short from like being like really good numbers, but that's besides the point. 20 or more, that another auto skill once per turn. At the end of the battle, it attacked. You counterblast one and restand it. So it's two swings of 38k, and then 30 or more. So that's like a lot of cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gets plus one crit. Now this card is kind of meant to like help accelerate itself a bit. It's very reminiscent to the V design of what was it?
Mystery Flare.
What was the gimmick? Yeah,
This
Mystery
Mystery
Flare, where
Flare.
you kind of want to pump like the grades. This being a grade 4 and it cutting dark states, right?
Yeah.
So you can't, if there's any sort of like grade 5s or other units like grade 4s or like whatever, you can't use that. So you mainly want to use this card right here because, for instance, if you get rid of this card and like more like if you want to get rid of 2 of these cards, you're already at 8, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have your Vanguard skill, which
Like you
gets
bind your
binds
ride
a card
line that
from
gets you to
Soul.
10, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you got that. So your Vanguard already binds 3 of your units already.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing with this card is that, because it's a grade 4, right? Obviously, you can't call it from hand. Like, so you have to only be played from, your Vanguard's ability. So that's a little bit iffy. And the only other thing, too, is that because this is a grade 4, it helps a lot with the total grade count.
Mm-hmm.
But once you lose it, right? Like, you kind of diminish, like, further copies. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
what was it, sacrifice class in that way, right? With Grand Dogma, like the more Grand Dogmas you get, it technically powers itself up. This is
Mm-hmm.
works the same way, but you're also losing this card too, right?
Yeah.
So and the only way it gets its ability is by your Vanguard skill, right? So
Which is,
it's
yeah, the
like
only way to
you need
call
like,
it.
yeah, so you need either 2 grade 2s or a grade 3 and a grade 1, right? Or for whatever reason, if you randomly have this card on board and you didn't bind it, I guess you could bind this and
Yeah.
like another card too, I
Or if you can
suppose. But
somehow
like,
get a, Bruce on board, you just bind that.
true. But yeah, I mean, the Colossus itself is a really strong card, right? Like 38. It would have been nice. It would have been 43 because that's more than 2 triggers to guard, but that might have been a little bit too good,
Mm-hmm.
especially since it's a restanding like
Yeah.
like 2 stands, 2 attacks of 40 like 43 would be like kind of devastating on top of the crit. Though most of the time with the tools that we have, I don't think we can necessarily turbo to the 30, especially like,
Mm-hmm.
turbo to 30 with like, this card like to have it. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
nice. This is essentially like one of like the call target for Greco line. So,
Mm-hmm.
let's keep in mind. And then we also have like another support card here as well. It's a grade one. It's a rare on play from rearguard from hand. So you can't. It doesn't proc if you use like Crowline or whatnot. If you're on Crowline, you choose a normal unit without Sentinel from drop or bind zone, and you put it on the bottom of the deck. If you chose a grade 3 or greater, you soul charge one, and it gets 5k until end of turn. So that's really nice because then this effectively allows you to reuse anything that you've bound before. So, for in the instance of the Colossus, once you've bound the Colossus and you want to have it as like another call target, you call this card, you put that card back, and then it gives itself 5k. So it's like a
Mm-hmm.
13k booster or attacker. So that's nice. Although like soul charging, and then same thing with the grade 2 in the ride line, it's kind of weird just because like so far the grade 3 and the grade 4, they don't really use soul. So like you're not really using your soul for anything, to
Well,
be
you use
honest.
one
So
soul for Chrono Winder. And I mean, like
yeah, but
theoretically,
that's,
if you soul charge a Colossus by accident, you can just like bind it from his first skill, and I guess you get 4 grades there.
I guess so, right? Like if you just want to like bot deck something, right? I guess that might be like the easiest
Well,
way just
I
to like
think you're
turbo.
always activating the skill just to get the grades up there because
Yeah,
I feel like
I
you
guess you're
kind of
right.
have to. So I obviously like the deck isn't using that much soul right now, but like you do kind of want to at least have soul so that you can bind every single turn off Chrono Winder just
Yeah,
to get those numbers up.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I was thinking in the context of like cost for skills, but I guess like the buying for like soul is also a cost as well.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
And
Oh.
I guess last thing to say about Gear Frog is you probably don't want to go for bind just because you're reducing your numbers in bind zone, which is not great. I'm pretty sure you always go for just drop here. Um,
If you're desperate, you're
yeah,
desperate, man.
desperate. You just gotta go for it.
Like if you really need like if you have like two Colossus in like the bind zone, but like two of them are in damage or like one of them's in hand.
Or in
I guess you
drop,
could always
yeah.
I guess you could always just
Or
EB3 and bind it from like as well, but like
yeah,
yeah, you,
but
you only
still,
get the
yeah,
call from deck, so
yeah, which kind of blows. And you know, the Dark States as a whole doesn't have any way to really interact with the bind zone, unlike Stoichea.
all right. Um, like this isn't really like a meta defining deck, but I want to say it is a fun deck. It looks
It looks like
so,
it.
and like yeah, I'll give it an impress just because like like not only is it like fun to be like, oh yeah, like I have this many cards in like the bind zone, but like the grade 4 is just kind of like the
Yeah.
dopamine rush of like you just slapping that down, you're just like
Oh,
38k, and then like oh like another 38k or so like that. Like that's gotta like feel something, you know?
yeah. I approve of Dark States getting more shitter decks like this. They don't have enough shitty decks, in my opinion.
Exactly, exactly.
All right.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I'll let you take this one for good old enthusiast Darren.
Yeah. So it's another triple rare. It's a grade 3 demonic jewel dragon Lavina Jader. So when it's discarded from hand during your turn, you choose a card from your drop and you put it into soul. So it doesn't have to be itself. So it's just any card that you have from drop.
Hmm.
And then it has rear guard once per turn. When it attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if your soul has 4 or more cards with different grades, plus 10k until end of turn. And then when you soul blast 4 or more, if you're for like draw jeweled, if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, you CV1, restand it. Yup.
That
This is
sure is a
another Rock.
Dradjewel card.
It's definitely Rockagore, Lethal Sogor. uh, like the takeaway with this card is that It is a demonic jewel dragon. So if you want to use Magnus's give itself or give like the
The drive
unit that
check.
you the drive check, this counts as it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the utility of, discarding itself, or not discarding itself, but like when it's discarded, you choose a card from drop and put it into soul. It's nice, if you need that grade 3, then you
Mm-hmm.
can put that in. Especially if you discarded like a draw jewel before, you can discard like, draw jewels, let's say, for like your grade 1 ride, and then your grade 2 ride, you discard this, you put that draw jewel in. Once you get to grade 3, you now have that draw jewel for the front row 5k.
Yeah.
This being locked behind, grade 3 or greater, little blows, especially for the restand, because
Mm-hmm.
like the restands before weren't locked. But I mean, it's just Rockagore. I don't even want to say like 2, because we already had that in Lethal
This is
Sagor. It's just
Rockagore 1.5.
it's more like Rockagore 3. Let's be real here. It's Rockagore 3. Yeah, Dodgewood had other restanders, but like, it's whatever. In terms of how I would rate this card, I mean, it's a decent card. I'll give it an impress, right? It's not like the
Oh, are
other
you
Dodgewood
not
support.
generous, God?
Yeah, and it's not as bad as the other Dodgewood support that
Yeah.
they got in previous sets. So, I
I
mean,
think that
like,
if this card were a double rare, I feel like this reads a lot more like a double rare than a triple rare in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, like, yeah.
No.
Yeah, if it like gave itself like 5k instead and it was like a double rare, like sure. Like but because it took up the slot of a triple rare, like and the thing is, this doesn't even fix like Jawjewel's like problems, right? Like it's a nice like side grade, I suppose, but like you're already playing 4 Lethosagor, so like did you really need more Lethosagors? Uh I guess if you wanted. I mean, it being a demonic jewel dragon can come up, so you don't have to uh
Solely rely
rely
on
solely on
Geo
Geodraw.
Draw. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
so but like I mean, I will say he does look cool.
Yeah. It's got a
Uh,
spear there.
yeah, I'll leave it at that.
All right. We have some double rares. Starting off with this new Liel card, which is 3 cons. First is that in deck it gets grade +1, so it's a grade 3. Second, during your turn, if you're on a Liel, it gets plus 5k, and then if you have 4 more, it gets plus 10 instead of plus 5. And then while you have a regress gauge, it gets another plus 5 shield. So my teammate Joshua has been raving about this card, and I understand why. It's just fairly solid. The grade +1 is not really that relevant. It's only relevant for tick down, which makes it searchable off that. But the fact that it's just a +5/+5, potentially a +10/+5, just makes it an overall solid card. I think he's really been looking forward to it, but he still only plays 1 copy. I don't know.
It's a stat sake, like
Yeah, and for pretty much
yeah, it's a
free, there's
stat
like no
sake.
cost on it at all. Like if you have 4 more grace days, wow! If you're playing the game, you just get a stat buff. Anything else to
Yeah,
add?
I not really. Like again, this is just a stat stick, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really like add too much to your game plan, right? Because yeah, the +1 grade helps with tick down, right? But like you're adding this card, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then like, okay, I added this card. What does this do? It's a beater, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, Odium's like whole shtick is kind of like I gotta win as fast as I can. So like a beater is good, and then an additional shield to try to live in case you didn't kill them that turn, like to try to kill them the next turn. Like it's welcome, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It's inoffensive.
Yeah. Although, like I said, probably you're never probably playing more than one of this card.
Oh boy, and this is what the cycle card.
Yep.
Let's see what this condition is. Uh, any player's card was put into deck or soul by your card's ability this turn, plus 5k. And then the
The regular, yeah,
50k.
the typical, yeah. I do like that
I don't
they
think Dark States wants
yeah, they
this.
made it like any Dark States deck can play this. I never thought about it before, but I guess all Dark States decks do put at least one of any player's cards into either the deck or soul by a card ability.
I don't think you play this card. Like, I
Nah.
think the only reason that you would even like consider it is if you wanted like some like early game like shitter cards to put
Yeah.
out there, but there are much better cards that you could be putting and in archetype as well.
Yeah.
So
The only thing yeah, literally I already said the only thing interesting about this card. Moving on. Oh boy, Omna Grusia. This card,
oh my.
um, let's see. I remember hearing something about this. Like, Kant, if you have grade 3 or greater Omna Grusia, gets all these skills. I'll be honest, I don't really like these kinds of cards where they're vanillas until turn 3, but especially when they have on places. Like when it's placed on rear, check top 5, choose a card among them, put it to soul, shuffle the deck, and then EV3, call a card with a different unit with a card name from her to rear, and then when it would put to soul for the cost of your Vanguard's ability, it may be recorded as putting 2. I think that was the good part about it. Because previously there was one card that was regarded as 2 units, and it did something else that I forgot for like a counterblast. But this is just an overall solid card, I think. Check top 5, put something to soul, and then potentially just EB3 get a plus. I don't know, it just reads pretty solid. The only downside with this card is you literally have to wait till turn 3 for it to do anything.
The other downside is they have to play Omina Gruzio.
Is it true?
Like I don't know what to say. Like I don't remember the last time I saw an Omina Gruzio deck.
Well, it did get a promo this month.
Yeah, we did, and I kind of just chucked it in my binder. I got a foil one
Haven't you
too.
not
So
read that card? It says draw 2 cards.
I literally did not read it. I saw Evil Eye, and then like I saw it was a foil, and I got disappointed. And I just put it in my binder.
Anyway,
And then like we have like another like this is kind of like a generic-ish card.
generic.
It's a double rare grade 1 still. It's a continuous rearguard during your turn. If any player's rearguard was put on the bottom of the deck or bound this turn, this unit gets +1 grade plus 2k. So it becomes like a 10k. So essentially,
Becomes a grade 2 without intercept.
yeah, essentially, yeah. And then at the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Gear Dragon Vanguard with Persona Ride, bind this unit and draw a card. So the first part made me like I have Mei Chengu in the back of my head, jet buff. The second part was like this is not jet buff because it's Gear Dragon with Persona Ride, which Chrono Jet does not have, so you can't really use that. However, this being a +1 grade and +2k is I don't know, like because then you want to like use this with Crowline so that way you can use this as like a booster, right? Like or even like a attacker if you're desperate, you just use this attack with like boost like a grade 2. Let's say you whiffed on the red line, you attack for like 25 or something, and then because they're 2 and 2, you can call out the Colossus if you need to. So it does help with that because like before, if you want to get the Colossus, you need 2 grade 2. So at least having like a grade 1 means like you'll still have boosters in the deck, so it's fine. And it replaces itself to draw a card, puts itself in bind. That's welcome for
I think it's just,
the.
yeah.
I mean, it's welcome,
I mean,
right?
it's
like
just solid, like literally, like basically Dark State, or I was about to say Dark State Shenri, but that already exists.
yeah,
But
Infilia.
one thing I could say about is like it's kind of odd that the first skill isn't active in the bind zone. That's a little unfortunate.
Yeah, like I thought that too, but like with how free it is to bind itself, maybe like turboing to like because like it's 10 for like the for like the additional power, and it's like 20 for like the restand.
And
So
then,
that's good enough, right?
yeah.
Like imagine like your first like grade 3 turn, you're able to like randomly like turbo into like 20 somehow. Like that might be a little bit too good.
Yeah, I guess. So,
Overall,
I
I
think
think they
I
just
like the Leo card is okay. Omna Grusia is kind of insane for like a bad deck, and then this card is just also solid, and we're gonna ignore that the cycle card exists.
yeah, let's just ignore the cycle card. I mean, we have a good card, like an okay card, and like a good card for a bad deck, which makes it an okay. So I think it's an impress
Yeah.
or depress.
Oh, is that what you said? I just heard the press.
I give it an impress mainly because I do like the the the, the card for Crowline. It's mainly because of that, and then like,
I like
but
the card
like
for
it's
Omna
all
Grusia.
You know what? I could be convinced either or. I don't really care
It's another
too
one of those
much, to be honest.
okay ones that we were talking about, like with Dragon Empire. It's literally inoffensive, fine, but not great.
Yeah.
All right, so Dark States as a whole.
Let's see. We got Crowline, we got the Draw Jewels cards, and then we
And
got
just the okay double
look,
rares.
oh, okay. Ah,
This is
like
actually really tricky.
it, it's kind of hard because like meta impact wise, it doesn't do much, but like fun wise, like just like a shitter deck, I like it, but like
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna see
Crowline,
any of the cards for Dark States from this set like in a major tournament. Like none of these cards are gonna getting played anywhere, except for like locals.
Odium,
I
I guess.
guess you're gonna
That's
see
like the
one
only
of
one
the
really.
cards at one copy.
That the Dradules enthusiast, I suppose. I'm giving this as a press. The more I'm thinking about it, yeah, I like Crowline's design, but like it doesn't. It's not like that amazing. It's like
It's
kind of gimmicky.
cute, but
Yeah.
what all? I guess. Fine.
All right, let's move on.
Oh boy, Youthberg.
Oh my god, this card is so good. So Youthberg got a double or
It's a
triple
triple
rare
rare, yeah.
grade 2 support. So it has auto when played on rear guard. If you have a Vanguard with youth, so you're on grade 2 or greater, you can counterblast one. Look at top 7 cards of your deck. Choose a card from among them and reveal it, and you perform one. So if it has Youthberg in its name, you put it into hand. If it's with a different name from this card and grade less than or equal to Vanguard, you call it to rearguard. So you're not really playing any other grade 3 like rearguard, so you're pretty much always gonna call something else unless you randomly find this card.
Mhm.
And then auto once per turn on rear. On attack, Soul Blast 1 for each card with Youthberg in its card name on your van and bind zone. It gets 5k until end of turn. This card is fucking amazing for Youthberg. So first off, it's able to be played on turn 2, so it's not locked to grade 3. So you
Mhm.
have a bit of early game now.
Yeah.
It CBs ones to top check 7, which is a pretty good chance to hit something.
Yeah, it's like a leaf
Not
feather
only that,
dragon.
exactly. And not only that, it has 2 different modalities for that. If you have a youth perk, it could mean either your persona ride, which grabbing persona ride, it's always like a nice option
Hmm.
to have, but it can also, grab your revel forms. That's cool.
Yeah.
But, there's another issue is that Youth Perk Dex plays Carino, which when you discard it, you search your deck and you essentially put a Revel form into the soul. That's essentially what it does. Now, the issue that Youth Perk has had before this set is that sometimes if you don't have a Soul Blast outlet,
Hmm.
then your Revel form could get stuck in your soul if you put it in there and you like, because most of the time it's like, why would a Revel form be in your soul? Well,
Yeah.
it's mainly because
Carino.
maybe you're right, but like, yeah, but like this card being able to on attack Soul Blast 1 means that you no longer have to dig for a way to main phase do it. You now have a battle phase way, an additional way at that, to just Soul Blast out a Youth Perk.
Yeah,
Not only
and
that,
that
it's
was like
until
the
end
main
of turn.
reason that was the main reason that the deck was playing a lot of the Persona Shield cycles. Literally just to have a Soul Blast during main phase outlet.
Yeah, and then it's just a beater. It gets a. I mean, your
Just
first turn, it's
scales.
just 5k, right? And then yeah, it just scales from there, and like it's until end of turn, so it's like a pretty good like restand target as well. So like on your first grade 3 turn, it's plus 15 to, let's say, your opponent's 10, restands it, and then front row 10, it's 25. Like this card's overall is like a really really, like, I give it 2 thumbs up. This card is so good.
Yeah, it's like literally every single line of text on this is exactly what Youthberg is trying to do, anyways. You didn't mention it when you talked about Carino, but this does actually also proc Carino because he can't Carino can be called by a card effect and still activate its effect.
Yeah, like this even. Because then before we would lose out on the ability to discard with the old Youthberg
Hmm.
grade 3. So this giving like an additional way to proc Carino is like, oh,
Yeah.
this
Not to
card's so
mention
good.
basically being the that discard skill, except better because it's not like top 3, it's top 7. No question there. Oh boy, your turn for your favorite deck
Leo.
apparently.
Oh boy. So Leo got another grade 3, or not grade 3, another triple rare. It's a grade 2. When this unit is bound by the ability of your Vanguard with Liel in its card name during your turn, you Soul Blast 1, you call this unit to a back row, rear guard, and at end of turn, you bind this unit. And then, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Liel, this unit gets boost. This is the most double rare, triple rare that I've seen, because this is like an effect that like Liel would want, because one of the issues that the deck had previously is that you don't really have like that many good boosters. And even if you did have like a booster for like the previous set, we had Almov. It does give your Vanguard like the red text to give your front row rear guards 5k, but then you lose out on the booster and you have like empty space in the back. So and then when it's bound by the ability of your Liel, then this card in particular. So this could either mean Liel's first skill, which
Hmm.
gives itself, the +1 drive. So for whatever reason, if you want to bind this card either from, your rear guard or your drop zone, then you can bind this, call another copy of itself, and then you call this card back out. So then you kind of have like a pseudo booster. And
Hmm.
then, but you could also do it, on attack, right? You bind this card after it hit attack, and you call like a different card, most likely, like either a Gobwelius or Religio, for instance. Then you Soul Blast 1, you call this card out behind it. It's a 10k booster. Now, it being like not necessarily opponent grade 3 locked is pretty good, I want to say, because it makes good numbers in the sense that it's a 10k booster. But like I said, man, like it is such a double rare design. Like I wish this card did more, or like at the very least, when it called itself, give itself 5k. Like
Yeah, I
please
was
just do
literally
that.
about to say slap a 5k on this card plus
Yeah,
5k.
yeah, just slap a 5k. I mean, it binding itself back too is like could be annoying. But uh, like this doesn't scream like a full play, because like again, it's just a 10k on its own, right?
Hmm.
Like there's no additional power on it. Like yeah, just slap a 10k on this card. Why don't you? Or like even like a 5k, but if you have like a Gobwelius in mind, then like 10k. Make it like religial, I guess. Like like overall, I will give this card an impress, but like it's like leaning towards depress. I want to say just because it's like potential man
Yeah.
or
Okay.
potential woman.
You're so clever.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting
Oh
that this
boy,
card exists. I will be honest with you. Every time I see this card, I'm like, wait, this happened?
I remember this too. But so, Youthberg or not Youthberg, Rezael gets a new triple rare grade 1 in a new form for Soel. It's has a continuous rear guard. If you have a Vanguard with grade 3 or greater, Rezael gets 5k active on opponent's turn. So it's a 13k booster or attacker if you need it to be. But when it boosts a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezael in its card name, you may countercharge 1, and if you do, you put this card into Soul at end of turn. And then it has an auto skill on Rearguard or Soul that when your grade 3 or greater unit with Rezael is attacked, you bind it and you choose a unit being attacked, so your Vanguard. Or I guess like if you have a rear guard Rezael for some reason, like and you want to guard that, like you can do that too. But your Vanguard gets 5k power, and if your bind zone has two or more other cards with the same name as this card, it gets an additional 5k power. So once you've used this for the third time, that's when you get that additional 5k power. So first off, a grade 1 is very welcome for Rezael because its grade 2 suites are really good. You don't really want to clog up your grade threes because you have to play, four Persona rides, or rather four Vitas, and then three additional copies of original Reziel, so you can
Hmm.
use the shove-in skill. And then you also have Gabwelius. It being a countercharger is nice, though very limited to having to be a Vanguard booster, but
Hmm.
the option is there as well. And then it's just, an
Extra,
anime
yeah,
effect
extra
where it's just
shield.
additional shield. It's nice that it, like, it puts itself into soul after to when you countercharge, because Resident does kind of have a slight soul issue after a bit. And then but then, once you use this card, right, it's like no longer is there. But 5k like power, essentially 5k shield, is pretty nice to have. I want to say. That being said, though, um, it's unfortunate that this card doesn't really plus.
Yeah,
Cause like
it's
me
kind of
and like
just there. And I mean, in
yeah, cause
fact, it
like
literally just minuses you technically. If you do the counter
yeah,
charge, it just minuses you. It's one off board.
yeah. But I will say it being not like opponent grade 3 locked is nice, because Impervious, for instance, is what was it? Like, this card makes it so that way like your Impervious is hitting for a really big number. Same thing with Nilbaris, if as like a decent call target. And like, not only that, right? Like, if you end up having to call this like to like the side rear guards, it's not like totally dead, because 13k, it's not the worst. It helps
Hmm.
make like some numbers, and then like at the very least it turns into like a pseudo intercept, which
Yeah.
could be more. And because like it only gets additional like 5k after the third one, or for the third and fourth one, you're kind of incentivized to run the full play set of it.
Hmm.
But that being said, though, like it's a decent card. Doesn't really solve, like, it solves one part of Reziel. It doesn't address additional part.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I will say it is an impress card for me, because like I feel like you'll also randomly get people with this if like for some reason they like forget like the soul. I could also
Hmm.
see myself getting got by this, not because like I did it to my opponent, but like I forgot I had this.
Hmm. Wow, you're feeling
So
really generous today. The one thing I was gonna say is, this allows you to play a Morta in Resile without hostage package.
I mean, that is true. That
I
is true. You
don't
could,
know
but
why you would do that though.
like you typically will play like a one of, or maybe two of a Morta, even at that, and like you're just that clogged at rear guards them, and like this requires you to like want to guard with it to bind it, and sometimes 5k isn't
It's,
enough.
yeah,
So
it's
like,
literally
and
just
then
like
you're
a
getting
lot of
rid of
extra work for like not really a good payoff. It's just
I
funny
guess if
though.
you randomly don't have hostage package, and but you want to play with a Morta,
Very cool. Anyway,
yeah.
double rares, cycle
Oh
card.
boy.
I do like the
Cycle
artwork on this
card.
one though. It's nice.
It's a unique. It's like very Gold Paladin esque,
Mm-hmm.
but its skill is, or its continuous skill is, if three or more of your rearguards were placed this turn. Eh.
That's not
Like,
too hard to achieve, but still like kind of annoying to remember.
it's like you're putting in like a decent amount of work
Mm-hmm.
to do this. Like, obviously you're not playing three just for this card. So like, if you're already doing it, then sure. But
Mm-hmm.
like, this card, like with most of these cycle cards, that's not worth a slot in your
Yeah.
deck. This other grade 2 double rare for Youth Perk is worth it, though, because it has an effect and drop that when you're grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Youth Perk and its card names placed during your ride phase, if you don't have a rear guard with the same name as this card, you Soul Blast 1 and you call this card to rear guard. So pretty much
Maple.
it's,
It's
yeah, it
literally just
specifies
Maple.
ride
It's literally
phase.
just Maple for Soul
Yeah.
Blast.
Well, yeah, it has to specify ride phase because they
Well,
don't
that's
want you
yeah,
to
that's what
call
mate.
this
Yeah. Well, Maple is
for
also right phase only.
yeah, but like specifically for youth burp, because you do ride, during the battle phase, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this costs like a multi attack. And then stat stick. Rear guard guardian circle. If you're on grade 3 or greater youth perk, it gets 5k power, 5k shield. If your bind zone has youth perk, it gets an additional 5k power. So essentially on its own, it's a 15k power, 10k shield, or 20k power, 10k shield. honestly, solid card, decent card to play as like your ditch target for ride, or
Hmm.
because you can always get it back, or just like an okay card to fill up board. So that's one of the other things that you first like need because
It
with
doesn't have the skill
exist.
anymore to call from the Vanguard.
Yeah, because with the exist, you really need a board. So if you play against any deck that like blows up your board, like you really just need to fill up your board, which is why this card calling itself back as like a maple, and again another Soul Blast cost. So like
Hmm.
you can potentially Soul Blast out your any
Exist,
of the
yeah,
rebel
or your
forms
evolved
that are
form.
stuck in there.
Hmm.
So like overall, another welcome card. I will say though, I think this card looks so much cooler than the triple rare. I wish their art was swapped.
Wow. Oh boy, Alden. So during your turn,
You
if
can
you're
take
on
that.
Alden, gets boost and 5k, and then at the end of battle attacks or boosted. If you're playing Alden, you put him to soul. Check the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose a grade 3 card without Regalis Piece. Add it to your hand. Very solid. Like I'm pretty sure wasn't I think there was an Alden list that actually like won a big tournament. Um, thanks in part to
I
this
just know
card.
Alden decks play like four of this. Like I'm gonna be real though, I don't know
It's
why it's good.
It's. I mean, it's you. In a lot of ways, you're kind of trading like a 5k shield from board for like a zero shield in hand. But a lot of the Alden grade threes do actually get shield. Like the promo has shield even if you're not on Alden, where the triple rare does need you to be on Alden. But I don't know. I don't know why they decided to make Alden Bastion, but it's okay. It works. I mean, it searches Persona Ride. It searches your Restanding Booster. It searches out Razianel, which is your multi attack. It searches out, new Alden that we talked about last set, the Call One Draw Two. I mean, there's just so many like good search targets, and it gives you Soul, which is one thing that the deck was lacking. You did we used to be playing Wedge Fluence, which was a mandatory soul charge because you just need the soul. Mostly because your ride line uses a soul, your divine skill uses a soul, and then you have Raziel that you want to be using every single turn. Also needs a soul, and it's a 15k booster. So honestly, you probably could even just throw this behind Vanguard and just be really cool with that because Vanguard is probably your weakest swing. You have the grade 3 to boost your rear guards. And then searching is always nice. Like I don't know what else to say about it. It's just overall 100% a solid card for the deck, and like it does what it needs to.
Yeah, I like that. Like, not only is a booster, it like can proc its second skill on attack or boost, or
Hmm.
at the end of battle on attack or boost. So that's like nice flexibility there. I could have easily just been like locked behind like like a booster for
Hmm.
whatever reason. But yeah, that's this card's solid. I can't say the same for this second card though.
I like the artwork.
Uh,
This is really cool artwork.
yeah, it's a grade two for Reziel. It's has a continuous. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Reziel, this card gets all the following. So it's a vanilla until grade 3. Continuous rear guard. During your turn, you get a static 5k. And then if it was placed on rear from drop by Vanguard's ability, it gets another 5k. So it can become 20k. And then at end of the battle, it attack Energy Blast 3, put this card into Soul, choose a faded one of Miracle's Reziel from Soul or drop, put into hand. And if you put a card from Soul, you may Soul Charge 1. So this card, like I said, is a vanilla. Its last skill has more like interesting application to it because the point of this card is that you can reuse Vita skill in
Hmm.
order to shove a Resident to Soul to call an additional card. It going from drop or soul is like pretty like nice flexibility
Hmm.
because sometimes you will find yourself like you really need a soul blast for like a cost, so you soul blast out like a Reziel which powers down your Vanguard. Well, at least you can just add it back and keep reusing it. It puts itself into soul, so you can now soul blast that out. That being said, though, it's Energy Blast 3. I much rather do that for Noberis.
Mm.
Yeah, and then also its first skill. Yeah, it's like 15 like during its turn. So even if you didn't play it that turn, like from hand, it's like a 15k. But Impervious is just kind of better. It's like a better stat stick, and it has like better guard value because this doesn't, you can't really guard with this, right? Because like
Mm.
the goal of this card then, right? Because like if you want to take full advantage of this, you want to call this card out with Reziel skill, then use this card to get the Reziel from Soul, most likely put it to hand, and then you have optional Soul charge, so that way you don't lose the card in Soul. But it's competing against Impervious Dragon, which the first skill it loses out to the, and then it competes with like the energy thing, which loses to Noberus. Like there is something to be said about having to like reuse your Reziel skill, and like Reziel is already kind of like a grindy. It wants to be a grindy deck, but with like the meta right now, it's kind of
Mm.
like hard to be like that, and you're just adding like additional shield. It's like cute, but overall, like it's just a disappointing card. Cool art, but you already have like if you wanted to play a dragon, you already have Gobwelius and Impervious, so like it doesn't even win in that factor.
I'll be honest, every time I look at this card, I keep thinking it's a grade 1, and I think it probably would have been a lot better if it were a grade 1, and if like
If it
the
was a grade
yeah.
one, then we'd be talking.
Yeah.
Then we would be talking because at least it adds something to hand, so that way you can reuse it. And it again, it's a grade two. It competes in like it competes with not just your other grade twos in Nobaris, in Impervious, or even like Nobia. It and like Rifistor, but also Gobwellia. So like
Yeah.
your front row is already clogged enough. Like if it randomly got boost, then we'd be talking.
Yeah. I think yeah. True. So overall?
I give it an impress. Like
Mhm.
there's two duds, but there's like two really good cards. So like
Yeah,
it
definitely
technically
agree.
averages out, but like those two pluses are like
Yeah.
are an impress.
Yeah, just disregarding the cycle card as always, but yeah, I think these cards are too good. And then I like the art. So whatever.
Yeah.
So Keter Sanctuary as a whole. Hmm.
Pretty good. Like all of their triple rares are pretty solid in their decks. And then even like the double rares, like they like meaningfully help their deck. It's not like kind of like a side upgrade.
Hmm.
It's like yeah, like this adds stuff to the
Like
deck. It makes
it's a card that's realistically going to be added to the deck.
yeah, exactly. So it's an impress from me for Keter.
Oh boy, a whole new ride line and a whole new suite of support cards. We've
I love Prison.
I
So
hate Prison.
well, good thing that I'm here. So Prison got a new ride line, new grade zero, and then we have a new grade one. So on play on van, you just reveal a Seraph in your ride deck. So it could be this new Seraph or it could be the old one, whatever. I guess you search your deck or hand for the new Prison. And you put into order zone. And if you search your deck, you shuffle, and if you put into hand, you draw a card. So it removes like the feel bad of like if you drew the prison, you no longer plus. And then it has like a rear guard skill, CB1. You choose one of your opponent's rear guards, imprison it, and it gets 2K. You're
It's a
never playing
very
this in the
overdressed skill there.
like you're never playing this card in main deck, but it's nice to have because of prison running around. That like
I
if
mean,
you
if you
these
face the
cards
mirror
get like
match, you can like call it out, and I guess you can use
yeah,
the skill.
exactly. Yeah, exactly, which is nice, right? And before we move on, let's talk to about like the new prison. So the
Yeah.
new prison is no longer do you have to rest or rear guard to play it for your turn. So you that's pretty good because before if you went first, it's whatever, you just rest your vanguard. But if you went second, you were pressured to have something to call that turn. Now you
Hmm.
wanted grade ones, and all your grade ones are really good. But if you didn't have it, you would force yourself to be like, I need to play like a trigger in order to
Hmm.
like play this. Otherwise, or like even rest my vanguard if so be it, because like, I really just need to, right?
Hmm.
And it no longer has an on play soul charge 3, so no
Hmm.
longer blind soul charge 3. Instead, it has the ability that when your opponent's imprisoned card in your prison is placed on rear, if you did not soul charge this turn, you may soul charge one. So, you're never really soul charging during your opponent's turn with like your other skill, so like that's whatever, right? So this makes it more selective, soul charge. So Before, like you would just like a straight shot three soul. This one, it's one at a time. It's a lot more gradual, but it means that if you do end up needing multiple cards in souls, these cards can technically go more than the above.
Yeah.
And then it just has the same prison skills as before, where it's soul blast one, they call out one card, CB2 or CB1 call out two,
Yeah.
right? So it's overall like a
This is,
decent card.
yeah.
Like you could theoretically play this or the other one. It doesn't matter. It's just kind of preference, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I mean, like
And then,
with the old one, Soul Charging the 3, you never really did anything with it anyway, so
like, it
it
was
doesn't
nice.
really
It
have, there's
feels
not too much of a
Muna.
difference.
Yeah, it's not too much. Like, you might miss it here and there, but like overall, like again, you can play either or. More leaning towards the new card, but yeah. And then the new grade 2 in the ride line, on play on rear, if your order zone has a prison, you soul blast 1, reveal a grade 3 with Seraph in the ride deck. You draw a card, your opponent chooses a card from hand and imprison it in your prison. So the old one was just on play van, they imprison a card in your prison. This one actually gives you an additional card, albeit for a soul blast 1, but you'll
Mm.
always take that. It gives
Yeah.
you an additional plus. So, I mean, it was so good, like they had to do it again, essentially. And then not only that, they also buff its rearguard skill. Because before, if it's two or more of your opponent's rear cards are in prison, then it gets 5k. Before it was 2k, like early overdress, right?
Very
At
overdressed.
very early overdress. This one 5k doesn't come up that much except in the prison mirror, but you'll take it. This is just a definite upgrade against over the other one.
Hmm.
Now we have Clear Light, which is the triple rare, grade 3, new one. So on van or rear guard, once a turn, you can soul blast one, you choose an opponent's rear guard and imprison it. And if you didn't imprison, they choose a card from your drop and they imprison it. And then van or rear guard on attack, if you have three or more of your opponent's card in prison, it gets 10k power plus one drive until end of battle. And then if it was on rear guard, you put it mandatory, put it into soul and draw a card. And then a third auto skill that when it's soul blocked for the cost of your Vanguard's ability, you get the red text when your opponent would call a unit card from your prison, that unit's auto abilities do not activate from that call until the end of your opponent's turn. So this card is a definite upgrade to it. First off, it no longer uses a CB
Hmm.
for to imprison two. Now that might be like the downside there. You
Yeah.
before you imprison two, this one's only one. However, Soul is a lot easier to come by than
Hmm.
CB. That also being that if they're trying to play around your prism, though they can't really do it with this because they have to have no cards in drop, but no cards in drop, no cards in board. That's not that likely.
Hmm.
So you're always gonna imprison something. It having a soul blast cost means that if you persona ride or have that card in your soul, it procs itself for the third auto skill, so you get that sort of floodgate effect. But more often than not, you're gonna proc that with what was it, Pure Light, because Pure Light's on play CB1 and Soul Blast 1, so you will proc that. The other thing too is that this works on both van and rear. So
Hmm.
while it's on the Vanguard circle, it's pretty much the same one. I mean, before you would get the 10k if you only had one. This one you need to have three in order
Mm.
to get both the 10k and the drive. But that's pretty negligible because your ride line already gets one, and most of your cards imprison from drop anyway. So,
Hmm.
by the time you get to grade 3, right? They discarded one for a ride. From 1 to 2, that should be 3. You should
Hmm.
get this card.
Yeah.
It going itself into Soul as a rear guard is really good because most of the time you don't even need to ride this card because you much rather go into Pure Light, which is just a stronger card. But this also have utility in the sense that it's not dead. It has that sort of what was it, modality of being like
Hmm.
a decent rear guard as well. Like overall, this is like a really good card because a lot of people were afraid of like Prison getting like a new Vanguard, right? Like how would they power creep Pure
Pure
Light?
Light, yeah.
Spoiler, they didn't power creep Pure Light. They just supported Pure Light, which
Hmm.
I think is a really good like change for them.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
definitely like a refreshing change. Kind of wish they do it for like Bruce. instead of
Yeah,
what we ended up getting.
yeah, but hey, Bruce is due for something eventually. But yeah,
Eventually.
and like when it's on the rear guard, it putting itself to soul and replacing itself with a draw is nice because now that you put this into soul, once you're on pure light, you already have like another card or another clear light that you can soul blast out for pure light.
Hmm.
So that's nice. Then we have another triple rare. It's another grade two. It's on play on rear. Your opponent chooses a card from their drop and prison in their prison. That if two or more cards are imprisoned in your prison, you counterblast one and you draw a card. Then a continuous on rear and guardian circle. If your vanguard's three or greater and one or more cards are in your prison, then it gets 5k shield. And if three or more are in there, then it gets an additional 5k power, 5k shield. This card is also great because it pluses. It's a free prison from drop, which is very hard for your opponent to play around. Not a lot of decks will have the ability to empty out their drop. You can, I mean, they can choose like a relevant card from the drop, right? But most of the
Hmm.
time, if they guard it with triggers or whatnot, they'll have to put that out. Those aren't good call targets. Uh, it being like a plus, like I said, is pretty good. CB is kind of harsh because you most rather use your counterblast for corner citrus or
Yeah.
even like hard riding pure light. But
Hmm.
regardless, and then a stat stick. It being 15k matters a lot because prison is a very controlly deck. So you want to be like very defensive with your cards because
Hmm.
you're hindering your opponent's play, right? Like you want to restrict what they do. They can't do too much. This being 15k is really nice.
Yeah.
It means that it opens the opportunity to use Buster Barrage, so that way you can call this out, or even because then you already have like good slots to like defensive cards. The only downside is that this is a grade two, and you were already having like a lot of like good grade two and above. Like you can play
Yeah.
multiple clear lights. You could play there's a lot. There's
There's
penetrate
the
aquas.
aqua, yeah, aqua turquoise, whatever her name is. There's also
Like
obviously citrine, and I don't know. Is there anything
yeah, that's like
else?
the there's a lot more, but yeah, that being a grade two, it's a
Oh, I
little
guess there's
bit of
that
a
rest one. The grade three. I don't know if you still play
yeah
that
taser.
one, but
Taser, it's more of a meta call, but but yeah, this card overall really solid card. Like it being like a stat stick is really good as well. So even if like your board's full with like corner citrus, then at least you can hold this card back in hand if you need to use a shield if you rather have two citrus. But yeah, really solid card as well. I cannot say the same for this grade one double rare though. Also, on play on rear, if your order zone has a prison, you look at the top seven cards of your deck, you choose a card with Seraph, and you put it to hand, and if you put a card or reveal the card rather, you choose a card from your hand and discard it. And then rear guard, auto, on it boost. If you have a grade 3 or Vanguard, and two or more cards are in prison, gets 5k until end of battle. So 13k booster.
whoa, never seen that
Whatever.
before.
Whatever. So first off, your back row is already 13 boosters. So
Yeah.
you're already playing Munoz and you're already playing Lifel Royale. Those are infinitely better cards. And
Hmm.
then secondly, this card being an on play to top check 7 for a Seraph, this is meant to search your deck for or not search your deck rather, but look at the top seven. You're trying to dig for additional copies of Pure Light or even Clear Light if you play that as well.
Hmm.
But the fact that you have to discard hurts because you're not really plussing that much to
Yeah.
hand. And then
Well, I mean,
secondly,
that's the cost you pay when a skill is free.
yeah, but secondly though, it's like if you're searching for Pure Light, you much rather play with Security Upgrader, which
Hmm.
searches your deck and drop, I guess, hand too for the Pure Light, reduces the counterblast cost by one, and imprisons one from
From
their
drop,
drop.
yeah.
So if your goal of this card is to search for Pure Light, then why would you do this when you have Security Upgrader?
Hmm.
Yeah, you can play this early to try to look for that, but you still have to wait an additional turn to then ride that pure light, which is the same amount of turns that you'd be waiting for security upgrader. So overall, like kind of a waste of a double rare slot, but like you're like I said, your grade one slots are already really good. You're playing foros of like all of them, so like it's whatever, I suppose. And then it has like a new grade three rare on play. You counterblast one, you choose two of your opponent's rear guards, prison them. If three or more are prison, then it gets 5k. Budget, I suppose.
Wow,
But
so
like,
cool. This honestly reads like a
yeah,
common.
yeah, like this feels like very early like prison design, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like before Pure Light, I would say. So, but yeah, those two cards you're not really playing. Everything else really really solid. Like it isn't impressed because like before like I said, we asked the question, how are you going to improve Pure Light? Most people thought we had to power creep Pure Light because before we would be like, oh yeah, we have to get like a new grade 3 that we could play off of. This one you can do that technically, but it is improves upon, not only itself but also the existing prison deck. So like overall like
Yeah,
impressed. Like I'm like when I say impressed, I'm like genuinely impressed with like the quality of this like ride line.
yeah. It's just basically, it's also just coasting on like the years of support that we've gotten for Prison. And the fact that the deck has always been very solid. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of Mag. How when we got Patriarch, pretty much everything involved with Mag was just elevated that much higher, just because a lot of the deck came out and it was very solid, mostly because of the fact that we had so much good support from like the years and years of Mag support. But obviously this one is much better because it is actually meta, whereas Mag is, not. Oh fuck!
What
I
is this, a
forgot this card
Wellster card?
existed. Yeah, it's a Welstra card. When it's placed on rear, CB1, check top 7, choose a product, and up to one unit with a blitz and its different card name from this unit, add them to your hand. So already like a +2 there potentially. Although I will say you don't tend to play too many extra products. I guess you can search them out, but I don't think you really want to on turn 2, considering when you ride up, you search out 2 products anyway. Well, riding to 3, you search 2. I think when you ride to grade 2, you search out another one. And I'm thinking the deck doesn't really play more than like 7, and like one of them being Freischütz maximum is like, do you really need to add that to your hand? But probably the better of this skill is that it searches for any blitz, which is the entire archetype. So pretty solid in that sense. The issue, well, I'll talk about it later, but let's finish reading the act. If you have a Vanguard with Welstra and his card name with Divine Skill and you do not play an order, discard a card from your hand, choose a product from your drop, put it into the order zone. You cannot play an order. That effect is definitely very useful. I feel like one of the big problems that Welstra has is sometimes you do discard the orders, and inherently the deck doesn't have a way to get them back. But now they do. So I think it's just a solid card. The one issue I do see with this is obviously it doesn't get any power, which is kind of blows, but Wellstrip minus is your opponent anyway, so you don't really care too much about that. But I think the bigger issue is that your front row it's another deck where your front row is very compromised. You want to have Troll or you want to have Freiheit in the front row so that you can actually operate multiple times per turn. But aside from that, it's just an overall solid card. I feel like you play it, you probably have enough CB to go around. Like the deck does use a lot of CB, but this being Brontgate, you have access to things like Bubble Mine. You have an in archetype counter charger, which technically is searchable off this. I think it is a blitz, but kind of an overall solid card. But is it what the deck needed? Like, I mean, I guess it. I think the deck just appreciates it. There's like some conflict with the front row and it being a grade 2, but outside of that, I think it's like pretty good.
Yeah, you're like the fact that it can search effectively any card within like the archetype, like essentially like I can't even say non-triggers. There are some blitz like triggers.
Yeah, there are.
So like, so like the fact that it has like a wide range of like search is like really good. Yeah, you probably won't be adding like your product, but like like CB1 just add like anything that you might be looking for. And like you said too, right? Like those two cards like Freiheit and Troll,
Troll,
like
yeah.
those are good cards, right? Like
Yeah.
at least this card can like find it, and like if for whatever reason like it's better to have this and not need it, and need to not have it in terms of like the
Mm-hmm.
second skill, right? Because like I feel like there will be some points where like I'm never gonna need this, and then you find that your hands was like awkward, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like it's nice to have, I suppose. But yeah, overall I would say I'm impressed.
Yeah. Very good card. Not much to say else there. Oh boy. Let's see. Brontgate cycle card is if any player's card was put into order zone this turn. That's great for everything, but fuck Messiah, I guess. They don't have a way to proc it.
What do you mean? You can play some set orders.
You could, and honestly, I think it is the optimal build, but still.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but again, it's this Brand Gate cycle card. Like
yeah, yeah.
you're not really playing it. But this B Hero card though is pretty good. Looks really cool too. So when it's played on rear or guardian circle from order zone, so pretty much when you scout it, or like when you affect like scout to rear or scout to guardian circle to
Mm-hmm.
guard with,
Soul
Soul Blast
Blast.
2 draw a card. Soul Blast 2 is a little bit like big, but like,
Mm-hmm. Does
you
the
do
deck
kind of have like
generate any soul at all? Like I'm trying to
I
think
don't
what
think
generates soul.
so. I don't think so, but like I don't think it uses that much soul
Well, it
anyway,
needs
too.
it needs soul for the multi attack, doesn't it? The grade one to like
I
swap the
don't know.
positions.
I don't know.
And then the
You
promo
tell me.
also uses like a soul blast to like put a base from
Yeah,
drop.
but yeah, you're playing like text anyway, right? So like at least this having the option to like
Mm-hmm.
draw a card is like a nice one to have. But then moving on, more stat sticks. Continuous
It's like the
rearguard
theme
during
of
your
the set
turn.
or something.
If your order zone has 2 or more bases, this unit gets plus 5k. And then if you have 3 or more, you get an additional 5k. So 15 at 2, 20 at
Three.
3 or more. And then if your order zone has a base on Guardian Circle, it gets plus 5k shield. So I think this card overall is still like a really good card. Like it's a welcome inclusion to the B hero archetype.
I just don't know how you're
Um,
fitting this in. I do like that it's not like grade 3 restrictions. So you just fucking swing at your opponent. Hey, 15k.
yeah, that's like heroes like biggest thing. They want to like rush the opponent down and like try to like kill you on like potentially like their first grade 3 turn, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose. So like this like being like it has like a lot of like good utility. It lets you draw, so like it digs for like all your pieces, and like you're already digging so much anyway. Like it could
Mm-hmm.
seem like a little bit overkill, but in that sense, right? Like maybe you need like shield to like live or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Like at least like after you decked in all your heroes, this can like draw you like maybe a trigger in order you can guard with, and it being like 10k shield is also very nice. 10k shield is very underrated because it's any because you just need one base. So like 10k shield in like the early turns is like a godsend.
Yeah. Oh shit. We actually remembered to put in the Impaldia support this time.
Yeah, unlike last time.
Let's see, what does this do? This says if you have 4 more auto mod gauges, reduce it by EB2. At the end of battle, it boosted. If your horizon has exceed, EB2 retire it, draw a card. Okay skill. Like, I don't know what else to say. If this card is put it as an automatic gauge, by the original act ability of your Impaldio, choose winner gets +5. If you have 2 or more, choose 2 instead of 1.
um,
Okay.
I guess it pluses it.
Well, it doesn't
So
plus
it
it.
plus
It
it pluses your
replaces
hand.
itself. Well, it replaces itself.
Yeah, it replaces itself, but like yeah, it adds to your hand. It kills itself, but like that's where you can put like
You put it
as
from
an
drop into the
automod
auto mod
gauge.
gauge. Yeah.
5k power. Like this deck's already hitting big, so like maybe like an additional 5k power like early could help as well.
Like to
I'm
your
not
one
too
column
familiar.
that's like not as big, I guess, because you do have
Yeah.
the drive checking rear guard. Your vanguard's already swinging that pretty big, and obviously with the 4 drive checks under divine skill. So I guess just like the last column that doesn't have as much
Yeah,
power.
I could give the either the last column or make it like more awkward for your like grade 3 drive checker to
Mm-hmm.
guard because it has the one check, so like it make it awkward. Like overall, like both of us aren't too familiar with Empoleon, so but like
Hmm.
on read, it's like it's all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Overall, let's see, a good card, an all right card, and like a meh card. So I would say I think it's an impress.
Hmm.
Yeah, I give it an impress.
Yeah, I think it just barely hits the threshold. Like none of these cards like offend me. Of course, as always, we're just ignoring the psycho card. But now there's nothing offensive about these double rares. Oh, you wanted to include this card.
Yeah, so Heroes got a better grade 2 in their ride line. What did the older one do? I don't remember.
It scouts to draw a
But
card. Don't
yeah,
ask why I
okay.
know that.
Okay. But this one has a skill. Once per turn as an act, you discard a card from hand and reveal a grade 3 B hero and its name from your ride deck. You search your deck for a base and a card with hero. I guess B hero, yeah, but yeah, whatever. You reveal them, you choose a base from them, you put it to hand, and you scout the remaining card. So this is very, very good because it essentially guarantees your second base. And because the reason why before, right, like your grade 1 searches your base, your grade
Hmm.
2 then scouts into your base. This one still scouts to the base.
But it scouts
However, it
from
now
deck. Yeah.
searches.
Basically,
However, this
basically, you're
one
just
now
scouting
searches
from
it.
deck at this point.
Yeah, but this searches the base, which then lets you play it for that turn, which then lets you scout even more.
Hmm.
So like overall, this provides way more utility than the original grade 2 because again, like if you're scouting, right? Like you're already scouting with each of these cards. Okay, you go down a card with this one, sure, to like, discard a card for its cost, but you're searching for the base and heroes
Yeah.
desperately needs like, at least 3 cards in their base in order to like turn on like, Unite Dianos like CB skill to like, make your Vanguard pressure because your Vanguards are like annoying as fuck to like
Yeah.
deal with, like the multi attack. So overall, like this card is like out good. Like I think Heroes is like a very rogue playable deck, and I would be scared to play against it because like not a lot of people play Heroes, mainly because like it's hard to get nowadays. But if
Whoa,
you see
how
a
much
hero
is that
player,
Dynamos worth? Market Watch Danny.
uh, is it back on the market? I don't know. I need to double check that. But yeah, this card, impressed from me.
Hmm.
Like this is in the same tier as like Shoujo Doji, where like just do whatever you want. Like, dude, like I don't know what you
Just do
do. You attack
whatever
a
you want.
lot. Like, am I dead on your first grade 3 turn? No. Am I dead on your first your second grade 3 turn? Probably.
I guess the only thing I have to add is I don't. I just remembered that they did get a grade 1 base, and the fact that this, let's see, is, oh, it's an axe, so you can technically play a base before it. I was gonna say like you kind of have to search out the grade 1 and put it in if this was an on ride, but it is just an axe, so interesting. I guess you could play the base and then search another base, and I don't know. I don't know what the grade 1 base does. I don't know if you play it on grade if you search it off the grade 1. Um, so yeah, that's where my commentary is gonna end.
Impressed.
It's no question.
Like it was impressed like solely for Prison, but the other cards were also pretty good too. But
Yeah.
yes, impressed. Oh
Oh
man, you can
boy,
talk about this.
Leonorn. So Leonorn is a deck that I dabble in. This is honestly just like the deck I bring if I feel like being competitive, which is probably going to end up happening. So it did get a new ride line. Let's see, just grade 0. When the grade 1 is ride placed specifically by riding onto the grade 0. Reveal if you're playing Leonorn, call plant token, and then if it boosts, it gets 5k. So basically, what this
If you're
card
in
is,
the state.
oh yeah, if you're in unison dress state, but spoiler alert, you're always going to be in unison dress state. So I'm kind of disregarding that. But this card is basically just grade 1 Rorowa. I mean, the most of the builds were playing Roro Ride Line anyway. So just making it in archetype, I guess, is just fine. Like who really cares? And then the grade 2, when it's rode upon by grade 3 Leonorn, you just reduce its auto ability by a CB1, which is fine. that's we've seen that a lot in a lot of what's it called, ride lines, where they just reduce it for like the first turn. It does technically mean that you can't be CB denied, which is pretty cool. But outside of that, like it's just fine. It doesn't plus you anyway in any way, but it's good enough. And then it just gets boost and can intercept from the back row if you happen to call it, which it is Stoicheia. So better to have it than not. Always nice to have ride lines that have effects outside of that. But then the new Leonorn is her first skill is it's always considered in the unison dress state. So I guess just fuck Vivace and needing to go through the extra effort of waiting till turn 4. I guess there's like a couple of unison dress related cards that we got before that I guess are suspect for playability, but I think like the rest of the support is like solid enough, and the deck kind of builds itself a little bit. Well, not necessarily. There's a couple builds that I've been seeing running around, but just having the unison dress state gives you access to a lot more cards than you normally would have, especially since it's a turn earlier. And then Vanguard, all your Leonore and rear guards get boost and get grade -2. I think that the grade -2 isn't really as relevant for most things. There are a couple of skills that require you to have grade 1s or less in the back row. So the fact that you can just turn a Leonorn into a 13k booster is nice. Although I feel like I haven't like messed around with this deck too much, so I don't know if you want to just call your Vivaces. You probably don't want to call Persona rides. I guess it just like depends on the game state whether you ride into the Vivace or you Persona ride. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit too much. But anyways, typical Leonorn thing when attack while not boosted. Stand all your rear guards with boost and boost this with them. And then if you boosted 3 or more units, CB1 and EB2, it gets drive +1. And until end of turn, you perform one of the following at the end of that battle. You either choose 2 of your back row rear guards and stand them. But if your opponent is on grade 3 or greater, you choose one of your rear guards, stand that unit and this unit, and they get +10k and -3 drive. Then you can put a Leonorn from your rear or hand into soul, and to also give them +1 drive. So basically what this has done is it's turned Leonorn into a potentially 4 attack deck with some pretty strong attackers. I guess you could get to 5 attacks if you want to throw in what's his face at grade 3, but from what I've seen, most people aren't playing it. But overall, this is just like an improvement on Leonorn. I feel like there's a lot of ways to build this deck, which is something I do like about Stoicheia. But it's just a solid card. That I honestly don't know what else to say. There's like so many like tiny little things I could say, like about the fact that she restands your back row to boots with them, so you theoretically could attack with a rear guard first if you didn't want to. Oh, I guess that's what it's for the second skill, because you can swing the rear guard boosted and then restand that unit again. You can basically boost your first attack and then restand it without like conflicting with Leonorn, because previously you would have to always swing with Leonorn first because you needed to boost with the 3 rear guards, and then it's just basically Leonorn with extra steps, I guess. I don't know. Any extra word on that, Danny?
I think it's one of those things where like Leonard already had like a lot of like viable options. There's obviously like the Vivace build, or like you just rush the fuck out of your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's with Leonard in general. But also Mask was a playable deck
Oh, I
too.
forgot
So
about
like
that.
this adding on, like I'm gonna be real, like the fact that it's just a better than base Leonard is good enough. No,
Mm-hmm.
actually, no, I lied. The grade 0 art, I love it. So like, I'm playing that in Zorga.
Nah, I think this is really cool. Like, I've seen builds where people just go all in on that rush, and apparently those builds like aren't being as successful. But what I do like is a lot of people are playing like the order build, because Leonorn has access to this one order that's like CB1, check top 7, call
Oh,
1
Happy
or
Dreaming
something.
Fiesta.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna talk about that in like a Market Watch video.
but yeah, like I mean, Leonorn is just like everyone says it. It's just such a push deck. It has so many just like good cards in it. It's slowly starting to become like a pretty toolboxy deck, and just I think what you do is you screw the full offensive and you just go tanky. Because obviously, like in the meta right now, there's a lot of removal. So just being able to sustain yourself is kind of just like an underrated like thing that if your deck can do, you just get a little bit better. Unfortunately, I think Leonore is starting to fall off in JP. I didn't see the last tournament; it didn't have that much representation, but I do know it has like quite a few tops already, like straight out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, Leonard's always rogue playable. Like it got third at Pasadena this like
I
just
didn't know
recently. So like you know you know what they say, Leonard's greed.
that. Yeah. Anyways, let's
But
look
yeah,
at some of the
yeah.
support cards. So when it's placed on rear, grade 2 triple rare, choose a unison dress ability from your hand and reveal it. If that card or if your Vanguard is in the unison dress state, CB1 draw a card, and then and then you can Soul Blast one to call a plant token. So this card is definitely like a sustainable card. It's nice that it replaces this card basically like does what Broccoli was doing. CB1 draw a card. It does kind of suck that you have to reveal from your hand and not like your ride deck, but you know it's fine. Like you're gonna have a Leonore in hand. You have the other guy that searches it for CB1. And then you also have the ability to call a plant token, which like if you get board wiped, you can call this card and bam, you have an attacker, you have a booster, with basically just one card of commitment, and you even like you basically plus two off it, even though one of them is a plant token. And the other skill, when it attacks, if your Vanguard is in the Unison Dread state and your opponent is Great Trigger, choose one of your back row rear guards and increase this card's power by that ones. Which is, I suppose, the more impactful skill. I completely forgot that this card existed. It's basically just Rosarium 2.0. But it has Intercept, which was always Rosarium's biggest weakness, that you would throw out your grade ones and you'd have like these 50k attackers, but then you would go to your opponent's turn and they'd just kind of be sitting there, being ready to be retired or, attacked into. But, this is honestly just like a solid upgrade over Rosarium Fairy. It gets the plant token, it draws you a card. Just, I don't know what else to say. It's a good card. Yeah. Let's see. And
Nothing
then,
to add on that.
yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about good cards. Like, good cards are just good cards. And then we have a double rare. When your Tremed is placed on Vanguard, if you not have a card rear guard with the same card name as this, call this card to rear. So Maple, just literally just Maple. And once again, another card that just lets you plus. You don't have to commit from hand. Just get it from drop. Just get free rear guards, get a free booster. And then at the end of the turn, if your Vanguard is Bandmaster of Blooming Dreams Tremed, you may put this card into Soul. So you can trade it for resources. Potentially, I guess you could play Blitz Orders that cost Soul to Soul Blast it out so that you can like Persona Ride again and just get it back. I mean, it's an option. I don't think I've been seeing too many people play this. I think it might be a one of. I'd have to double check list, but it reads okay, like a lot of the double rares in this set. Interestingly, let's see. And then we have a rare. If it attacks or boosts, if your Vanguard is in the Unison Dress state, choose a unit in the same column as this unit. It gets +5. Wow. I mean,
Wow.
I guess you could boost up a back row rear guard so that you can copy it with the new Rosarium Fairy. But like at that point, I feel like you probably have better things to do. I mean, you have Cincinnati, which is an insane bonkers card, especially on a Tremed turn Persona Ride. See, 20k base. It doesn't get Persona Ride power, which kind of blows, but eh, it's still
Eh,
pretty big numbers. And I mean,
it's like
you're not,
okay.
yeah. I mean, you're not going for like big numbers. Like your Vanguard swings for big, but you're multi attacking a lot, and I don't know, like it's fine.
Yeah. But so what would you rate this then? I mean I already know the answer,
Yeah,
but
I think this is a pretty obvious impress. Like I enjoy Leonore every now and again. I'm not a super fan, but the deck looks cool. I do like that there's like options. There's a lot of lines of play. There's a lot of different ways to kind of construct the deck, considering that Leonore just has so much support. It does feel a little bit like Mag in the sense that you have all that old support, and it's a good deck building experiment for me. I'm definitely going to be messing around with it, trying out different builds, trying out different cards, different tech options, see what works. But I'm kind of looking forward to this deck. The honestly the only cards that I'm looking forward to from this set, if I have to be honest.
I'm looking forward to a lot of cards.
Thank you, Market Watch Danny.
No problem. Like this next card right here. Whoa.
What a
It's a
segue.
it's a grade two triple rare. It's this one's meant for Zorga. So hand and drop. When you're Vanguard with Zorga in its card name with Divine Skill, again with Divine Skill. I don't know why they keep locking like these like you don't want to play this with like old like Zorga or like Grave Zorga or even Zorga Mass. Like come on now.
Yeah, fuck them.
If you do not have a rear guard with the same card name as this card, you counterblast one and retire a rear guard. You call this card to rear, so pretty much the slot that it was in. And then for each normal order in your bind zone, it gets plus 5k. And then another auto on rear at end of battle that it attacked the Vanguard, counterblast one, bind this unit. You choose a normal order without Regalis piece from bind zone and put into the hand. So this card is really good for a couple of reasons. Well, first off, thing to note is that it's a grade 2, but it has 8k. So
Oh,
already kind of like, a little underpowered in that regard. But because when your Vanguard attacks, and most likely you're not going to have a rear guard with this, you counterblast one, retire to call it. You're essentially retiring a front row rear guard for this card. And because you alchemy magic each turn, so the first time you do it will most likely be plus 5, then the second time it's probably plus 10, and so on and so forth, just scaling with each normal unit. So at the very least, it still hits your opponent's grade 3 if, you went second, right?
mhm.
Uh, so this being when your Vanguard attack means, it also can benefit from triggers, but it also retiring a rear guard is really good because you get to retire Roaming Prison Dragon. So before, the way that you would tend to use it is either with the
Har-
15k Divine Skill like booster, that if you had two or more different names in bind, then you get to choose one of your rear guard, give it 10k, but retire it at end of turn. Or more commonly, you would pair it up with
Harvest
what was
Elf.
it? Harvest Elf to not only reset your Roaming Prison Dragon for next turn, but then also to plus a card, right? So already this card is really good for that reason, right? And also that's not overstating the fact that like it is a multi attack, right?
Hmm.
Zorga now has 4 attacks without Divine Skill,
Yeah.
5 attacks on Divine Skill if you have this card. And then also its second skill, end of battle attack, you counterblast one and you bind itself. So it binds itself so you can't like call it back out to reuse its skill for whatever reason, and you can't use it from drop. You choose a normal order without Regalis piece and from bind and you put it to hand. So most Regalis piece that you're playing is just gonna be Radiance Caliburn. So like okay, like you're not using that. The rest of your orders are up for grabs. And this card is good because it essentially helps out that if you only ever saw those two orders, right? So you bound
Hmm.
one for Zorga skill, and then you alchemy magic with the one from hand, the one from bind. This card now adds the card from bind to hand, and then the card that you played from hand, the first one, now goes to drop. So that way you can kind of repeat it again if you need to. The only thing I will say is that both of its skill costing counterblast is a
Mm.
little bit heavy.
Yeah, I was literally
The
about to ask that. Like, how is Zorya's
It's fine.
counterblast issues?
So it is okay. It really depends on what orders you see. So a couple of orders that you can play is Clouded Miasma that costs a counterblast.
Hmm.
Another one is the Zorga that's sitting down that binds itself and adds to
Overcoming the
normal
natural
orders.
death.
Yeah, so that card can also counterblast. And then there's Pod of Greed, which is CB4, but reduces its counterblast for
Yeah,
each order in
potentially
the
free.
or
So
yeah, it's a potentially, it can go down to like free, really. So those are like the three main cards that uses counterblast. So it really depends on what you see.
yeah.
So
Do you
if
think you
you
cut though?
have
Do you think you cut down on like any of those, or like try to
no,
countercharge? I don't think it's worth like playing Tearful Malice just
no,
for this card.
No. Again, you don't really need the counter charge to be honest, right? So like, because you have a lot of counterblast, open counterblast to work with, really. Because like I said, it really depends on what orders you see. So a lot of times you play the wandering upon or the drive plus one order
Yeah,
that's
gathered
free.
upon me.
Like I said, you have like Radiant Caliburn as like your regardless piece that's either Pot of Greed or puts itself to slow the counter charge. So you do have a little bit of counter charge there, albeit kind of like not reliable. You have the I think the one with inlet pulse on it to discard to then
Yeah,
call something from drop or
command of
add an
death
order.
restraint.
Yeah, exactly. You got Nifty Arc Habitat. See, I know order names. That's free as well. So like over yeah, it's CB, but I can't understate the fact that this is essentially a multi-attacker. And not only that, it is a flavorful one because right now
Yeah,
in the community, there's a lot of discourse on the CB1
just
restand
restand. Yeah,
or like the CB1 multi-attack essentially. And I'm okay with it as long as it's flavorful.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this
As long as the
card,
flavor,
being from hand,
or
weird.
drop. Yeah.
From drop, it makes more sense. And it retiring a rear guard to then call itself back out, and then powering itself up as well. That's
Mm-hmm.
in line.
Yeah,
I like this card.
yeah,
So overall, I would give this card a very solid impress.
yeah. There is one more thing that we do have to mention with this card, and that is the fact that the second skill is generic.
Kid
So
play
you know what
in
that
Van
means?
Van.
You know what that we play this shit in Van Van.
Exactly. You're never clocking the first skill. Who cares? I mean, yeah, it's an 8K actually. That does kind of matter, but that's besides the point. It adds. Oh my god, this card's so good at Van Van. I can't wait.
All right, we got some new double rares here. Um, let's go ahead and start with the card that we're gonna not talk about. Cycle card for Stoicheia. Condition is order card was put into drop this turn. Why do they always
Eh,
staple? There's like 15 different requirements that they can staple on a Stoicheia card, and I think this is the second one that has the order card was put into drop this turn. Like, whatever.
why?
I like the art
Okay.
though. He's really nice looking. But more impactful or more interestingly, we have a new Arrived at Paradise card. So this is a grade 3, which is interesting. If your Royal Stray Guard gets +5, sure, whatever. And then when attacks, perform all the following. If this unit was stood by non-clear, and its critical was not increased by abilities other than by trigger effects this turn, gets crit +1 at the end of battle, put it into the soul. And if your Royal Stray Guard, Soul Blast a card name with the same name as your Vanguard, and it gets +10k. So this card,
So
I don't know. Have you been playing? Have you been messing around with non-clear? I've played the deck a little bit, but I don't. I know you're trying to build it on budget, but have you actually messed around with it at all?
so I haven't like messed around, but I will say this card is a really welcome addition, mainly because it gives you the crit pressure. So it's 18k instead of like Leech Feather 20, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of
It's effectively the
whack.
same number, except on
It can come up,
except
but
on the
like
first turn, of course.
but the main thing is that it gets a crit if it stood that it wasn't by an ability. So like you can still obviously put trigger effects like
Yeah.
your crits or like your blessed favor like OT. Like the main thing about this is that you're able to now use your the Stray Garden order its other effect to
To just call
call
something
from.
back.
Yeah. So like, because before when I found the deck, I was like, well, I'm just trying to kill my opponent. I kind of just always would rather like give them the crit,
Mm-hmm.
right? At least this card now, like it has that crit pressure. It hits a similar-ish number, and it opens up the possibility of me open like filling up my board. So like already really good. It's 18k. One thing to note about Nana Clear, it's not a grade 3 lock, so it's an
Yeah.
18k on its own. And then its last effect part of the auto where you soul blast a card with your Vanguard. That's kind of like whatever. It's just more
It's
additional
okay.
power. So like if
I
you
think it'd be
Persona
a lot
Ride,
better
right?
if the deck had more ways of putting like the Persona Ride into deck. Like you can
Yeah,
actually proc this on your first if you're going first. You can proc this on your turn 3, assuming that you've seen Persona Ride. You discard it and you put it into Soul with the ride line. So technically usable, but most of the time you're just gonna have to Persona Ride.
yeah, like, but yeah, so like on Persona Red, right? It's like what 23, 28, and then 38, and
Mm-hmm.
then any sort of like other like power boost you may have. Like this is hitting for a really big for with a crit, and assuming that you play the order to call something else. So like your board is like you're more free to use your board like for like guarding or whatnot. So that's overall really good. Moves itself to soul at end of battle. So like uh, the deck does use a bit of soul. Like
Yeah.
Leaves Feather, for instance, is not a once per turn for its Soul Blast to get power.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it just puts itself back in drop after you use it for Soul Blast, so you can then
Call
use
it
your
back
order to
out.
call it back out. So like overall, like really really decent card. I
I
don't
think
think
it
it
is a
really
solid
changes too
card.
too
I'm not
much.
sure it's exactly what the deck needs. Like I feel the deck probably needs a little more defense, being such an offensive deck. But like
Yeah,
it's
it
not a
does. It
bad
needs more
card.
defense.
I'm not gonna say it's a bad card, but I don't know if
It's
it's
not a
it's
bad
it's not
card.
what the deck needed to become like meta. Like I feel non clear is almost there. Like if I feel like they could give a couple of good cards and make it like playable in a meta sense, but as it is
Yeah.
right now. Like this isn't gonna make the deck
It doesn't make the
meta.
deck meta, but it is a good card for the
Yeah,
deck.
which is
All right, let's
that's
move on.
fine. You don't. Not every deck needs to be meta. And oh, not a clear got
Another one.
two
Yeah, they
whole
did.
double
So
rares. Wow,
yeah, so it's
greedy.
a grade one double rare now. So if you do not have a rear guard with the same card name as this card, you reduce this cost by Soul Blast one. And if your grade three or grade or Vanguard with Nana Clear is placed during ride phase, Soul Blast one call this card. So after the
Maple,
first one,
another maple.
you can
A lot of maples here
yeah,
in
but
this
you can
set.
you can call two, right?
Yeah, you can
And
call
so
two.
there's that. And then when it boosts, if you're in Stray Garden, you choose a unit, it gets 5k, and if you do, retire this unit at end of turn. So it's nice that like it brings itself back out. Theoretically, you don't need soul right for it, so
Yeah,
you're free to like call it out. It being in Arrive at Paradise adds to the name, so you'll like more easily be in Stray Garden. It retiring itself can mess with Stray Garden a little bit, but you should already have like field like a board of 4 cards,
yeah.
so that shouldn't matter. It gives the unit 5k,
And
I believe.
it's until end of turn, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
wait. Does it say until end of turn? He chooses one of your units. You may have it gain 5k if you could retain
Retire
this
this
unit.
unit. I mean, technically, I guess
And
not.
technically,
It.
it doesn't say when it expires, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it
Yeah.
expires at the end phase. But it's nice that it also
Yeah.
just like sticks around. So if you use this unit to boost, and then you have like I guess another one behind the Vanguard, you can stack it there and just keep giving power to a restander. Like if
Yeah.
you want to
And
swing rears
before,
first.
yeah, and before you didn't really have. So first off, it being arrived in paradise, like I said, is really good.
Yeah,
This is like the same issue that Weisrucker had before it got
you
its
just need more
third,
names.
like the grade one mythic. It just needed more names. It makes it more consistent.
Hmm.
It being a grade one is also really good because before, you only really play the grade one lettuce baby
Yeah.
to grab back the order, and
Hmm.
then as like a restanding like booster.
And then like
So
your booster was basically your boosters were pretty much just your ride line at that point. Like you had the 15k booster, the grade 2, and then the 13k booster,
yeah,
the grade 1.
which isn't bad, but like I said, like more names is good, and before your boosters weren't that impressive. This
Hmm.
one still not that impressive, but at least it like powers up like the card up there, and so that's like useful
Hmm.
in its own right. So overall, I think this is like a fine card.
Yeah,
Like it's not like I won't say above average. It's like halfway between average and above
this
average.
is a very double rare card.
Yes, it's a very double rare card. Um, so basically, how would I rate this Nana Clear support?
Yeah, pretty
Uh,
much.
I give it an impress. I
Yeah,
like this.
I think it's like very solid. Like
Yeah, I think
both of them
the
are
only
just
thing with
good. It's like what else can you say?
yeah, the only thing I is it's kind of weird. Side tangent. It's just Nanoclear's aesthetic because before it was like, oh yeah, it's a fairy, right? And then it had
Yeah.
like a bunch of animals, but then it had like a lettuce baby, and now it has like two elves, and it's kind of
I
like
think they're
what?
sylphs. They're not elves. They have
Okay,
wings.
so okay, but like their type line is elf, I think.
No, it's sylph. I think. Hold
Is
on.
it? It
This
is?
is,
Okay, I can't read.
yeah, see, it says
Oh, it
sylph.
is.
Sylph.
Okay, regardless, but yeah, like it's kind of a weird aesthetic, but yeah, regardless, like overall impressed.
Yeah. Oh, and then we decided to talk about these cards because Levidros got some pretty good cards, all in like literally rare below. So this first one,
Interesting
yeah,
cards, I will
yeah.
say.
Well, I think Levidros has been topping because of some of these cards, specifically the grade 2. But this is, I like the artwork. Surprise there. When it's placed on rear, if you're playing Levidros, CB1 draw card, mill a card, which is no fine. Like,
It's
who's
all
gonna say no
right.
to
It's all
CB1 draw a
right.
card? The one
It's
weird
all
thing is the
right.
discard the top card of your deck. Like, where the hell is that coming from? Like, this deck has never milled before. Is this just because you're
Anato
Stoikea?
Anatogaster.
Oh,
You see, you're like, oh, I would bot deck it, but now I can play my Sharma on top or Sharmnet on top, and then mill that
what
one
do
to
you
then
mean
call
you're
that
going? If
out.
you put the shard on top, you're gonna draw it.
Oh shit, you're right. My bad. But then again, you still have access to Sharma. Regardless, like, it has its utility, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah. Like the mill is random, but like okay, whatever. Premium applications. Whoa, it can synergize with Great Nature even more now. You can get 5k off your barcode Zebras. But
Wow.
anyways, when it attacks a greater unit from a rear guard with an Infinity Eyes marker, so it's pretty easy to do, gets 5k. So on the Infinity Eyes, that's gonna make it see
25.
15, 25 pay base, and then you can Soul Blast 2 to choose when your opponent rear guards and stun it. Can't intercept, can't stand. Um, which I will
Random
say,
mega colony
yeah,
spell?
I feel like that's like so much that fits like so much more thematically, right? Because like he's literally a bug dragon, but he didn't have any stunning. So
Yeah, like, because then theoretically your stunning is with, like, the Infinity Eyes marker. So this kind of fits in with that as well.
mhm.
Like, I think this doesn't, like, change how Levi-Joss is played too much, but it's just a utility card.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just really
I
good.
don't know if you play it, like, as a 4 of, but, like, you can play it as, like, a 2 of, I would
Mhm.
say,
Yeah, I
and
like
be
the
fine with
flavor
that.
too. It's literally Mega
Yeah.
Colony plus Great Nature, except
Yeah, and
the
it's
bad
the
part about
most
Great
double.
Nature.
Yeah, it's the most double rare of the set.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
and then we
Um,
have two other cards here.
yeah.
A rare and a common. Grade 1, when it's put into soul by card's ability during your turn. If you have a grade 3 with Levy Draws, counter charge 1 or energy charge 3. Energy charge is for Anatogaster. Counter charge is always nice, but you already had clearance. It being shoved into soul meant that you shoved it in with Levy Draws, which
Well, not
means effective.
necessarily. It can be
I mean,
put
you don't
by
have to.
anything, but I can't think of anything right now that you can use to proc this. Is the
Yeah, like
problem.
this is like the easiest way is to like put it into soul with Levi Dross's
Yeah, but
ability.
at that
But
point,
like
like you're not getting 3 markers,
yeah,
which is like,
so like over
uh,
like it added like some utility, but it's like you didn't really need it because like again,
mm-hmm.
you if you needed counter charge, you already had clearance and then energy charge 3, you weren't really like that desperate for energy.
I
Like
guess
you
it
would
lets you
always
play
use
the
it for
order.
I guess, yeah. You could also play I don't know,
You could
double
go
a natural
double an
gaster.
Autogaster.
I guess there's that too, but yeah, no, the card's not that
It's like
useful.
okay, but it just doesn't. It's not. It
It's not
it's
useful.
not there. Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
needs
and then
another
another
card to
grade
help you
one.
use it. And then this grade 1, I like
Yeah,
the art on this. I missed
yeah, it's a cute.
the forest dragons.
Yeah,
Um,
and then rear guard when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Levy Dross is attacked. If your Infinity Eyes is in the same column as this unit, so it doesn't have to be on Infinity Eyes to
mhm.
retire it. Choose a Vanguard being attacked gets 10k. I guess, but
It's just
like
a 10k
you're trying to be
intercept,
aggressive.
but
Like you're
it's
trying to be aggressive anyway, because like the most common thing that you'll see in Levy Dross, right, is that you have a Sharmnet in the front row. you most likely have a Huli, which calls out an Anatogaster,
Mm-hmm.
which is so that Charmanet's in your front row, Anatogaster's in your bottom. You
Mm-hmm.
have
And then you have
Foxtail
the
in your middle
Hooli
one,
Foxel in the middle,
and
and
then
then you have one extra.
Foxtail will call something out there and as your attacker,
Mm-hmm.
which more for most people is gonna be the squirrel or
Yeah, the
squirrel.
Squirrel.
So then you can just move that around, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, exact slot could be filled with anything. Do you really need an offensive card, a defensive card? Not
Not
really.
really.
Your Infinity Eyes like do kind of like help circumvent that
Mm-hmm.
already. So like
This
essentially, right?
is yeah.
Like if they attack, right, you get rid of this 10k, and get rid of a marker, another effective 10k. That's 33 right there. I mean that yeah, that's useful in
It's
its own
useful,
right,
but
right? But like
the fact that it doesn't
this
have
isn't
any
really
other
something.
utility, I think, is the thing that like prevents it. But it is a common, so
Yeah, if you just combine this card and the card we talked about previously, then maybe.
yeah. But as like two separate cards, like nah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll give this an impress just for the grade 2.
Me
Like
too.
unironically, like yeah, the other two cards are kind of like meh. The grade
Yeah,
2,
but like at least they're
like
not like offensive. Like, like why did you print this card? Like I at least they justify the cardboard that they're printed on at
yeah,
least a
and
little
the
bit.
grade 2 is interesting. I
Yeah,
will say that.
just
All
yeah.
right, let's move on.
So Ikea as a
Okay,
whole, I think it's
I
like
give it a thumbs up.
yeah,
Like Zorga got a huge buff. Nanoclear gets a buff.
Leonorn is good.
So Leonore is pretty good. Like
Levy
yeah,
draws
I
cards
think
are
it's an
good.
impress.
What are the double rares? Non-clear. Non-clear is good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just Nanoclear. Yeah,
yeah. Honestly, I feel like this is the best nation we've talked about so far.
yeah. Like most of their cards are like pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Oh
what
fuck.
the fuck?
This is
Oh
another
fuck!
thing I keep forgetting about. I literally Chris Rain got a new form, and I feel like nobody has talked about it.
Yeah.
So what does this card do? So two skills. So CB1, choose any number of units, perform one of the following. If you chose 4 units, all the chosen units have different card names. Perform 2 instead of 1. If you chose 5 or more, choose. Okay, so basically just Chris Rain. If you have 5 different units, you perform all of them, and then you technically can get 2 instead of 1, but you do whatever. Draw a card, enter your tree, same thing as Chris Rain. Choose one of your units, gets plus 15, same as Chris Rain. This unit gets plus 1 crit, same as Chris Rain. Old Chris Rain, I should say. And then the new skill is choose one of your rear guards. It gets at the end of the turn, you may return it to the hand.
Was Old Trish Trade also an act?
Yes, she was also an act.
Okay.
I guess I like that now you can. You have 1 extra skill. Oh, you do perform 5. I was gonna say this would be really interesting if you had 4 skills and you get to choose 3. But you know, just fuck it, give it all. But who cares? Then divine skill at the end of battle, attack to grade 3 or grade unit, soul blast 1. Choose any number of your regards, return them to hand. Choose a unit card from your hand, call it to rear. Increase or decrease that unit's power to. So this is basically just old Chris Rain skill, except it costs a soul now, and you no longer have to bounce your entire board. The main reason that was really necessary is because they got a restander that did not work out during your divine skill turns, because you had to just bounce it, so you never could get to 5 attacks. Now Chris Rain has become like Zorga in the sense that it is a 4 attack deck and then 5 attacks on turn on divine skill turn, basically. But apparently Chris Rain has been seeing some results, so I guess it's better. Maybe I'll try it out.
Like I wouldn't be surprised. Like it catches people off guard too.
Yeah,
Like
especially
especially
since
like 15k in a crit, it's 28. Like if you are prepared for that too, right? Like something like oh shoot, like.
And don't forget, Chris Rain's 13k booster is technically a guard restrict too. It's a triple door unless you have a PG. It's PG or guard with 3 or more cards with different grades. So Vanguard can get pretty nasty. And then just
let's see what this triple rare.
Let's see, what does this do? Placed on rear, you may soul charge 1. If you have a Chris Rain, choose one of your units, gets plus 5. Then CB1, draw a card. This unit gets plus 5. I guess you can solid. I mean, let's see. It's not grade 3. It's not restricted to your opponent being grade 3. CB1 draw card is always nice. And then you can just give your Vanguard 5k, which can, technically transfer to another unit if you are Divine Skilling. If you're grade 3, grade Chris Rain, you played an order this turn. EV3, choose a grade 1 without Sentinel. If you don't have a card name, draw it. I'm not sure
High
what
five.
order you're playing, but
High five.
oh, I forgot that
Yeah,
card existed, and it's also
yeah.
free for
People
this
forget.
deck.
Yeah, people forget that high five is like it's meant for the divine skill
The Divine
thing. So
Skill
yeah,
girls. Oh,
yeah. So just play it. Draw, call something, gives like 5k, bounces, or when it leaves, and then yeah, like this
solid.
card's
Like,
like
I don't know what else.
just
Like
all card.
another just like solid card. Like both of these are good.
Like if you think about it too, the EV is essential. It's not like Tafel. I'm lying. But I was like, oh yeah, you played an order, you got like a card, and then this card now gets you another card, which
Mm-hmm.
is like I don't know if you have any grade ones that like kills itself or whatnot.
Well,
Anyway,
importantly, the restander is a grade 1, and it goes to
oh there
soul.
we
So
go.
you literally just call out your restander, you're guaranteeing that 4 attacks.
All right, there we
So
go.
yeah, it's just like they gave the deck good cards and a new Vanguard, and all the other cards around it were pretty good. It's kind of a Shoujo Doji B hero situation. The rear guards were pretty good. The Vanguard was kind of shit. Now the Vanguard is less shit or good, honestly. Like I would honestly call it a good card now.
I think it's a good card.
So like all the good rear guards that were good before are still good. You got a new Vanguard that actually works with the rear guard, so it's gonna be a good deck. Um, let's see, what else do we got here? We got a rare and rare. When it's chosen by Chris Rain, it gets 5k. I'm not gonna talk anymore about that.
It's a
That's
grade
just, that's enough.
three.
It's not enough. There's
No.
no justification to like talk anymore about it. When your other units return from hand with your regard in the same column, if you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Chris Rain's name, Soul Blast 1, return as the hand. I guess, but like
Those
I
sure are non trip double rare and above
yeah,
cards.
like I guess you could play this like your pseudo Highlander, even though not really. It's super easy to get your names. I guess you could play this, but I don't know why you would. I guess you get 5k shield back. I guess you get a Soul Blast, but there's probably like 1,000 better cards that you could play over this.
Impress. Like
Yeah,
yeah, just Chris Green and her new card in general. I give it an impress.
yeah,
Like it's just an improvement.
just an
Like there's
improvement, and the deck already has good cards, so it's gonna be a good deck.
yeah.
Oh,
Last triple rare.
Artasaria.
For yeah, it's a grade one. When you play it from rear from hand, if you're playing Artasaria, CB1 draw a card. So already nice, I swear. On boost, if your order zone has a sound system, gets plus 5k until end of battle. If you boosted a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Artasaria, it gets 2k. And it has the ability that when you Soul Blast 1, choose one of your rear guards, and it gets when this unit is retired from rear, put this into the hand. So they finally got their 15k booster that's
Wait,
equivalent
but she's not a
to
divine unit. Why does she get a 15k booster?
who knows? But because it's like who knows? But it's good utility, right? Like on play, just draw a card. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
helps with your hand, and then on the boost, right? It's just a 13k booster. That's fine. Most likely, like because this is a 15k booster for Vanguard specifically. You're no longer like like it's not necessary to put like a Shadow Army token behind your
Mm-hmm.
Vanguard circle now, because now you can get actual utility out of it. Because before, your Vanguard would be the weakest column, even though it
Yeah.
also had the crit. So this being 15k is nice. Soul Blast 1 is also a nice utility because, when it's retired from rear guard, or when the unit that you
Yeah.
choose gets retired from rear guard, put the hand. It's any rear guard at that.
Yeah.
So if you need to, you can call like triggers or perfect guards if you're on like a persona right turn or something like
Hmm.
that. So pretty much when you call over it with your Shadow Army token, you just bounce the card back. So
It turns Artasaria into Alden.
whoa, whoa, essentially, yeah. I mean, they kind of already had that too, like when it's
Yeah.
retired, like so,
The
like
token one, right? From last set.
in the yeah. So in like a vacuum, I think this card's like a good card.
I
I
think what
guess
you're
like it
probably
reads
your
nice.
best target is that one. There's that one girl that like retires shadow armies to like, get shield, right?
Yeah,
So I
like
feel like she's
Lumi
probably like your
Noel.
best target,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, the Lumi Noel is your best target because before, like, you have to use either, I think it's Reverbia, which is their in archetype grade one, or Yuika to bounce it back, and then like it could be like a little bit awkward because like with like resources. At
Mm-hmm.
least this now, like yeah, you can get back the Lumi Noel. So
Yeah,
like
and you can just
overall,
do it
like
every single turn. So
yeah, as long as you have soul. But overall, this card is a solid card.
yeah.
I would say impressed. I don't know like how it fits into the Artaria deck, but I like on its own, I think it's solid.
Yeah. Oh
So
boy, more cycle cards. This one is nice looking. Not my thing, but it's nice. Let's see. Your unit was placed by your card's ability this turn.
comically easy, but
Yeah.
like we're not gonna talk about it
Yeah.
anymore.
So juicy
You can talk about.
fruity. Whoa.
Oh,
Attacks a grade 3 or greater unit. You have a grade 3 or greater juicy fruity gets +5. I don't know why they gave it double restriction on the grade 3. Fuck it. Like just juicy fruity is struggling, so just, take that first sentence off. Fuck it. This card's not gonna like the deck's not gonna get any better.
to be on
Retire.
grade 3
Yeah.
and your opponent on
Grade
3.
3. Yeah. If this card's retired from a rear guard with a token unit. If you have grade 3 Juicy Fruity, put this card to soul, draw a card. Oh, that part's free. And then EB3, that token gets +10. Wow, that's actually really solid. So it's like a 15k attacker, and then you overcall it with Juicy Fruity skill. You get the free soul, which is super necessary because one thing that Julio has taught me is you don't get you in order to get triple drive on Juicy Fruity, you need to Soul Blast one. And the problem is if you Soul Blast your Persona rides, you lose power on your tokens. But literally being able to go to Soul, draw a card is kind of insane on all things considered. And then on top of that, you can EB3 and give that token another 10k, so it is 20k base. That's pretty solid. Like this card overall really
Yeah,
good.
it's overall good. Like it would have been nice if it worked on like when if you went first, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's still fine going second. But like the second skill too, like just giving you resources. Like not only does it put itself into soul, it draws you a card too. It didn't have to do that.
Yeah, like
Yeah, so
it's good.
yeah, it's a good card. And let's see here,
We have Marlene support.
Marlene
Oh, this is a
and more
Chris Rain?
constrained.
Oh, I missed
Yeah.
it. I really like the
Oh
art on
well.
this Marlene card. She gives me very
Yeah.
coral vibes.
Yeah, so it's a grade one. On play on rear, you counterblast one, look at top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to one card with Marlene in its card name, reveal it, put into hand, shuffle. If you didn't reveal, countercharge one. I guess it searches Persona
Burning
Ride.
Horn Dragon. Wait, why do
Yeah,
you
and
need to
it
be
freezes.
searching Marlene's? Doesn't your Vanguard
I
send
think
you
it's
one
like
draw?
I
Or
think it's
add
also
it?
meant for like the promo Marlene.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that card
So we
exists.
have that as well. But in the context of English, where we do not have that, it's kind of like a CB1 shuffle, and then countercharge one.
Okay.
And then when your rear has another auto on rear, when your unit is placed in the same column as this unit by the ability of Marlene, if you Persona rolled this turn, you stand this unit. So restanding booster, pretty nice overall.
Kind of sucks that
I will
it's
say
restricted to
it's
Persona Ride.
yeah a little bit sucky there, and also its first skill isn't as relevant in just like start deck Marlene. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's a nice card for the other Marlene, but we don't have the other Marlene, so
Mm.
that's a little bit sad. And then another grade one. This one's also for Chris Stream.
Mm-hmm.
So auto when it's discarded from hand during turn, you may put this card into Soul. And then auto from Soul when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Chris Strain in its card name is placed during your ride phase. If you don't have a reader with the same card name as it, use Energy Blast 3 and call it out to rear. So it's essentially free fodder. And then
Mm-hmm.
if you need essentially a name on board
Yeah.
or just a guy, you can just call this out.
Yeah. It's a
Doesn't do
maple,
anything
but
else
it's
though.
honestly this is probably the most interesting maple we've talked about today because instead of calling from drop, it calls from soul. It's pretty cool in that
Yeah, and it puts
sense.
itself in the soul too. Kind of sucks that it doesn't give itself like power or like at least or maybe like 2K even, but like
Yeah.
that's kind of asking for more.
Yeah. That's an okay card, but I don't think it makes the cut. I think that Chris Rain just has better cards.
Yeah.
Uh,
Overall,
There's like one good card in the double
It's like
rares.
one good card. It's like a, it's
Card
like
we're
a slightly
ignoring.
above out. So it's like a good card, a slightly above. It's like kinda average card, and then a decent card, but like its utility goes down, so it's a bad card at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad, but like it's
It's
like between bad and like average.
yeah.
So
I,
overall, I
I
think this is like a down, like
yeah.
that's a depress.
I don't think like as good as a juicy fruity card is, I don't think it's enough to elevate like the rest of these cards that are just like not really content to be played.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see what do we have. Chris Rain
lyrical
is
as a
good.
whole,
Artisario was good for lyrical.
I think I mean those are the triple rares, and
Mm-hmm.
then so like I think it's an impress just based on that. Like
Yeah.
double rare support
Ignore
and
that.
below, it's kind of like in line with what it is. So yeah, impress.
Yeah. Just an
But
overall
like,
good.
just like it's like impress, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
I
not like
guess.
it's
Like
not an
good
enthusiast.
enough. You got the
Good
C
enough.
plus. You passed the class. All right. So, any final thoughts?
Yeah. So as we were doing the set review, I just think back to the set review we did for set 10 and how almost everything was just like it's okay, I guess, and like it's either that was like our high, and then like some like like a lot of depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one is like very high. There's like a lot of cards that are really really good cards, and not only are they good cards for their archetypes, or I guess for their decks rather, they are they bring their decks to like a really playable status. And even like the ones that like don't really like do it, like even like the one we just looked at, Juicy Fruity, right? That is like a meaningful upgrade, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's like fine, like because it's a meaningful upgrade, and that's not the high of the set, right? When like
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with having like this type of like meh to medium like upgrade if the rest of the set in general is a good set. And like this one is really good. And it's not because I'm biased towards Bob or Prison, even though it technically is. It's just in general, like I don't think we really gave like that many like depressed. I think it's only Dark States that we
Yeah.
gave like as like a depressed. Everything else was like really solid in what it supported.
Mm-hmm. I think that I feel like there was a lot of okay-ish cards. Like there wasn't anything that was straight offensive in the set. There was a decent amount of good stuff, but a lot of it was like bordering on decent to good. Like I feel like that's my
Yeah.
main impression. I will say the other thing is like there's a lot of like similar cards in this set that I did not realize going into it. Like I think we saw like three
Yeah.
maples. There were at least two on play CB1 draw card. I guess I can call those broccolis. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
there's
cards
a
are
lot of
very
like
samey,
overlap,
but like at the
but
same
like
time,
that's kind of in line with like late stage
yeah.
sets, right? So
And I mean, it's not like Vanguard is new to all decks getting a card with the exact same text or anything, right?
yeah, but yeah, overall, and I think to end it on like a good note, this one's really good. Like, no, it is like I said, it is a full game. It is not a DLC set,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually looking forward to set 12 because this set is exciting, and then the next set is also
Yeah,
exciting as
I'm
well.
definitely more
So,
excited for set 12, but
oh yeah,
I think
set
the only thing I
12
care
is
about this
good.
set is like Leonord, but
I care about a lot, but I also care about set 12, but that's for a later time.
mm-hmm. Yeah, next time. Well, until that next time, this has been the Heal Range podcast, and I hope you guys all enjoy.